It took a long time to eat dinner.
It really did.
Because Jordan took a long time to cook it.
It was.
It's fine. It was kind of impromptu. It's good. Okay. So we last left our heroes. You guys seen Forgotten Realms?
Wait, who's the hero here?
Charlie. Remember we decided.
Charlie's the drug lord.
And comedian.
Where do we? It was Jesse's.
Yeah. So I know Jesse just finished. It's my turn now.
So you left off. So go ahead and take a penny, Jesse, and then you have the most pennies, obviously. So it's your turn.
When I think of, and just to recall, when I think of digital black belt license,
Write it down. Oh, you already did.
I remember my up and down comedy career, meeting Charlie and setting out on the road.
Nice.
So mine is feet on a sandy beach.
Oh, did you turn the mic on again?
Yeah.
The mute looks like it's on.
No, it's not muted. It blinks when it's muted. See, we're good.
You just needed to scroll down.
I
just need to scroll down.
All right.
So yeah, I have.
He's
feet-
not like me. He's not as bad as me with the streams.
Yeah, I have feet on a sandy beach.
Feet on a sandy beach.
Am I supposed to start?
You start,
Yeah.
and then you finish. Yeah.
All right.
This is the unpleasant memory.
Just for reference, for the last thing was, when I think of clothes hanging out to dry, I remember the time I hung
Oh my gosh, what's that?
hung my
someone.
wife's underwear on the rose bush, and it got eaten by the dog. Just for reference, that was my last memory.
Should I just jump straight into the deep end?
Yeah, I mean, you are on a beach, so.
Yeah. So feet on a sandy beach. Were you surprised that there was blood in the sand?
Oh, okay.
I was gonna say, nobody said that the feet were attached.
No.
Yes, and there's a few ways I could take this. What the heck, Jesse?
Did you expect to see blood in the sand? Yes.
I almost wanted to do that.
That's not too morbid.
Did you want to see blood in the sand? Yes.
So what was the question again?
Were you surprised to see blood in the sand?
Was I surprised to see blood in the sand? There's only one way my mind keeps going. Yes. And I immediately was wondering where my kid was.
Oh no.
See, you bring this upon yourself. Don't
Yes.
complain about us killing your child.
No, I know. That's the only thing I could think of. So I'm like,
No.
okay, we're going that direction.
Did it take you 7 hours to find the body?
That's very specific.
Maybe it did take you a
Several
long time.
hours. Did you take you
Did it take you a long time?
Yeah.
Something like maybe it was where we were. Yeah. And I'll be honest, after the first few, I wasn't even expecting to find it. I'm really confused how there's blood now, but keep going, I guess.
Well, you saw blood, and then you're searching, and then
That's right, I
by
can't
that
find my
time they
kid.
died. Yeah. One of those land sharks got him.
A Garchomp?
Swimming around. Yeah. So swimming around the.
I mean, land sharks exist in D&D too.
Oh.
Bulette.
Land sharks exist in D&D. They're called gnomes. They just nibble your ankles off.
Those are ankle biters. Those are from Narnia. Sorry, my feet are long. Or my legs are long.
feet are long.
My feet are also long.
I wear clown shoes for a reason.
All right, Ronald McDonald.
My girlfriend has a queen-size bed, and I have a court jester-size bed.
Stephen Wright?
It's red and green and has bells on it.
That's Stephen Wright, right?
Yes.
Okay. Well,
I've got something. I'm just formulating how I want to say it.
oh no! Oh no! Timmy! Because of course he's named Timmy. It's always named Timmy.
The person who dies is
I had made a joke a long time ago with a friend that whenever I write a story, the first person who dies is always going to be named Timmy.
And then, just a coincidence, that's also like the Alpha Investments thing.
Yes. Yes, that is a coincidence, but yes.
Was that when your wife stopped speaking?
Oh.
When she became, is that when your wife became mute?
Oh my gosh, what?
I thought you were just going to say stop speaking to you.
No.
That's what I thought. And then you stopped saying things, and I was like, stop speaking. What?
Yeah, and strung out over 7 long years. Yeah, and I really miss the sound of her voice.
Ooh.
Oh, it hurts.
There's a Phineas. Oh, so speaking of Phineas, probably my favorite Phineas song is a song about a story about a man losing his voice for 7 years. And apparently it really happened, and they
wow.
wrote a song about it. Anyway, sorry, Seth.
Go ahead, Jesse. Take
I
it
have
home.
one. I have one more.
Take it home.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Take the club to the baby seal.
Kick the puppy. Drown the puppy. It won't be anything worse than what's happened to this kid.
Oh my gosh.
Ah, this is horrible.
Mm-hmm.
There's so many directions I could take this.
Yes, there are.
Oh my gosh.
So the kidnapper, did you find him?
Yes or no question.
That is a
Oh,
yes
yes,
or
no
no
question. Yeah. And it doesn't change anything.
Yeah, and his name is Charlie.
Do I want to make it Charlie? Here's the thing: if we make them too interconnected, it's going to start interfering with our ability to tell our own stories.
Charlie is the reason for everything.
There is,
And then Charlie's
there is
the
not
one
a,
that's-
there is not even a single Charlie. Charlie is a spirit that inhabits this world.
We are Charlie.
I am Carl.
I love your concerned glances, Caleb.
I keep giving concerned glances to the camera.
So yeah, one day we were at the beach, and we were, fun time, just hanging out with family, little 7-year-old boy running around, playing, and all of a sudden, me and my wife are just kind of laying on the beach, we just decided just to relax for a little bit, and we could hear Timmy, down the beach.
Charlie down the beach.
We could hear Timmy.
Our kid, his name was Charlie.
We could hear Timmy. He was fine, and apparently neither of us realized that both the other person had fallen asleep. And we woke up. Timmy was gone, but there was a pool of blood. We looked for hours and hours, and we finally found him. And let's just say he wasn't Timmy anymore. He wasn't much of anything but a mangled mess. It took several months to find the kidnapper, serial killer. Actually, we heard about it on the news. You know how it goes. You never think it's gonna be you. You think you'll be fine, but we weren't that lucky apparently. I remember the first time we went to trial. Seeing that man's face, there's so many things I wanted to do. I don't remember what I did.
I was going to say, are you sure you wanted to do them? No, I actually wanted to hug him.
So,
I thought, for a second, I thought you were going to go into a thing about how your son's name was Charlie and you never saw him again.
Oh no.
Jesse, do you remember what I did that day?
When you saw the man who kidnapped and killed your son.
Mm-hmm.
Oh boy. I would just like to say, it would be really twisted if Charlie was the one that was putting this all together, helping us remember that he's the one that caused all of this.
Charlie, man.
Charlie bet Maze. All I can think of whenever you say Charlie.
Charlie bit my finger, and the finger of my son.
You know, I'm gonna throw this even deeper. I think you pushed against the restraints that were on you.
Why were there restraints on me?
That's up to you to find out.
Interesting.
Kill? What is that? What happened?
I think.
I was just trying to be creative.
Oh, no, I like that. I think.
I'm just not sure what to do with it.
Right. I think that when you saw the man who had kidnapped and killed your child, we always want to like escalate these things and say like, well, I grabbed the sheriff's gun and I shot him in the face. I feel like constantly doing that doesn't make a whole lot of sense.
Yeah.
So let's say that you broke down weeping and you realized that the man who had killed your son was your other child back from the days before all of this happened. The child you had forgotten about, the child you had when you were a teenager and had given up for adoption and had kept track of for a while and lost. But you realized that you wanted, with every part of your being, to be able to forgive this boy of yours.
You just made this weird.
So, restraints, huh?
But you had to choose between, right? Like, you had conflicting emotions between your child, your like illegitimate child.
You know, I didn't know much of what to do with the restraints, but I feel like I know less of what to do with that. Right now, I'm like, what? Okay, I'll go with the restraints because I actually did think of something while you were talking.
That was good though.
Yeah, it was interesting. I was like, that's too much for me right now.
I was thinking like he was just overcome with apathy, like he just didn't care.
But that doesn't like I was trying to think of a place where it would like push the story.
Yeah,
to
yeah.
go.
I get you.
Yeah.
But I think I can do something with restraints actually now that I think about it. Yeah, I really wanted to go over and just deck him in the face, but I kind of I'm gonna deck you in the schnoz. I really want to do that, but you see, just so happened that once I found out what had happened, I may or may not have kind of tried to interfere with the man's arrest and tried to get in his face and take him on myself, and
Don't punch him.
I got tased and taken down, and you know they needed me in court, but they needed me civil in court, so they had me cuffed just for safety's sake. So it's probably for the best, despite how much I disliked it. It was.
I was gonna say a straight jacket.
That's a little too much.
You ain't insane.
I mean, we'll get there.
Yep.
It was a long trial. It seemed like forever to get things through. But finally the day came, and the jury made their decision. Where do I want to take this?
To the bank.
Yes, but what kind of check am I cashing?
The guilty check or the not guilty check?
Yeah. And
The check that is written in blood. Goat blood.
see, well, here's the problem. And hopefully Cody can't hear. He'll like correct me. Actually, that's not how court works. Here's the problem. As much as the evidence seemed to point to him, it seemed that certain things about how the trial went down and evidence collected may have not been the most kosher. It seems that the police were getting a little sloppy, and because of that, the man couldn't be convicted. And I did not handle that well that I know of. But, Caleb, do you remember what happened?
What happened when? What exactly?
After
How he reacted
how I
to
reacted
the fact
to
that the murder of his child was not convicted.
And it wasn't even because he was not guilty, it's because things were done wrong.
Yeah. I think that you ended up being obsessed with cold cases, with crimes that, because of various reasons like that, right? Like, couldn't convict the person that was definitely responsible. You became obsessed to the point of, your wife, obviously, right, can't speak anymore, but you neglected her because you.
That's right, she can't speak.
Yeah, you just spent almost all of your free time on internet forums, very obscure internet forums, trying to track down some loophole, some way by researching all of these old cold cases and all these things. There's some possible way that you could bring this back to court and actually get him convicted.
I like it. But just to be fair, to hear more ideas, Jordan.
I think that you farted.
You just sat there.
You sat there and passed gas for 17 hours.
Straight.
And then you died from a fever.
After eating some mushrooms.
Exactly.
Yeah, there were some dire mushrooms. I think you go mad. I think you went mad. I think you just forfeited any ounce of sanity and goodness left in you, and you ended up becoming, you were abusive toward your wife. You didn't respect law anymore. If you wanted to go 100 and a 50, then you'd be doing that, and you just started spiraling, and you just didn't care anymore. Your son's life was taken, and you didn't even get to see justice, and you just didn't trust. You just don't trust authority. You didn't trust authorities anymore. You didn't trust your wife anymore because she wouldn't speak up. You just gave up and just let the hatred and bitterness and anger consume you.
I was waiting for you to say, and became Batman.
I was gonna say, and you joined an underground revolutionary movement.
I think I'm gonna go with Kate.
Yeah.
Okay, sounds good.
Yeah, I was set on trying to find a way to get this guy taken out. And oh no, 7 items from my Steam wish list are on sale. I did my best.
You woke up one morning and 7 items from your Steam wish list.
No! I was intent on trying to get this guy taken down. I searched, I talked with people, I did all I could. I went to the media, I tried every single thing. This was not a small case. This was big. I mean, this guy was a serial killer. This wasn't the only time he'd done this. I was not the only person who
You're not the only.
I was not the only parent who had been through this, so I was very enraged. I'll admit, I did ignore my wife quite a bit,
Just a teeny bit.
a teeny bit. Got a little obsessed, but she was quiet, so
There's no reason.
it's really hard to. It was really hard not to in that sense.
Wait, what did Jordan say?
I said she was quiet, so there wasn't much to pay attention to.
Kind of. But eventually, I just seemed to hit a dead end. No matter which way I went, no matter who I talked to, I bug detectives. Well, I got to know them on a first name basis, even though they didn't necessarily like that. But no matter what I did, no matter no matter how much I pestered them, even starting trying to get it appealed, nothing happened. No matter how much I pushed, no matter how much I tried to find justice for my child, to get my life back together, nothing changed. I was stuck in the same rut as before. No child, marriage that was falling apart with a woman that would barely talk, and it's because they not even underwear to cheer me up.
All of your underwear had been mysteriously eaten by the dog. Wow.
Even I don't know. Even like the dog, he seemed to be taking it really hard. No, I mean like just like he was like moping around. You know, he didn't have his friend. This is for years.
His tail would wag no more.
For years, this went on of me trying before it just hit this dead end. And I felt like there was nothing I could do. But I don't remember what I did do. Jesse, dost thou remember what I did?
I feel like we're all thinking the same thing right now.
Became Batman! Anyway.
Well, we're just going from dark to more dark here, all right?
Yes, house game goes.
I think you drove up to the mountains. And you drove up, took a second to admire the view, and then drove your car directly off the road.
It should be noted, I don't die.
I know. You don't have to die.
I have to say.
Yeah.
Okay. Jordan, is that what I did?
So you were left off like empty, nothing worked.
Mm-hmm.
Never found him. I think after exhausting all of your resources
Mm-hmm.
through the legal system, you started looking for other sources.
Me life.
You turn to Charlie.
And the Shroom Gang. They can provide you with what you need.
Yeah,
One, comedy. Because laugh, you really need that.
Laughter's
and
the best
two,
medicine.
mushroom C4. Perfect.
Yeah, I figured, you know, if there was no law, if there was no justice, I would do what I could to make it better myself.
And become Batman.
I mean, essentially. No, I not even just like in the vigilante sense. Just that if this guy was gonna go living on his life after taking everything from me, I'd do the same to him. And so I planned out as much as I could, just figuring out about this guy. You know, this guy, he was very this case was very public, so a lot of information was out about this guy. And I went around, saw who I could found, dealt with some shady characters, some of which may be named Charlie. Just because I feel like it's necessary at this point to Charlie to be included.
Of course, it's the only person who ever exists in the underground criminal network is Charlie.
It's not even. They're not even all the same person. Everyone's just named Charlie.
There's just several different people named Charlie.
No, it's just like the whole entire underground criminal ring. Everyone is referred to as
You have to
Charlie.
rename yourself to be Charlie. if
It's
you're
not
Charlie.
it's not even a name. It's more like
Title.
a title
We
or a
are
code.
Charlie.
We are
It's like anonymous, but Charlie anonymous. Yeah, I dealt with some shady people and started to get to work. Granted, had to go into a bit of debt to do this. Had to take on some shady jobs just to fund it.
If there were any shadier, it would be pure black.
And what is that notification? Yeah, I started to go along with it. Finally came to the point. Pulled up to this guy's house. Equipment in the back. and things kind of get foggy. Caleb, do you remember what I did?
What was the last thing you just said?
I pulled up to the guy's house, equipment in the back.
Oh, to the guy who killed yours.
Yeah.
Okay, equipment back.
Wherever this shack or something is, I haven't specified.
Okay.
The suburbs.
be
Yeah,
in the forest.
I mean, yeah, that's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking like right shack in the woods. Like he's taking a
I'm sorry, you say shack in the woods. I think the basketball player's standing amongst some trees. He's just standing in the middle of some trees.
Hey, it's just me, it's Shack in the woods. No, so I think what it is, right, is he had a really good lawyer as well. And he managed to get, I think there was like some sort of like, because of the cops like did such a horrible job, right? He was able to countersue them after this allegation, and he was like, because it's the tampering with evidence and obstruction of justice, all the stuff that the cops like did not do well. He managed to get a settlement from it, and like is living off the money in this like shack in the woods, in the cabin. And I think right, like you pull up to this place, and I think you come up with a plan to lure him into the woods and face him, right? So you have this elaborate, like, you have a whole bunch of equipment, you have this elaborate like plan set up to like cause some sort of distraction or something, get him alone in the woods where you're going to confront him once and for all with a revolver in your pocket.
Is that how it went, Jesse?
Should I give the opposite?
I don't know what the opposite would be in this case.
I think you ran in guns blazing.
Is that honestly what you're going with?
I think the rage overtook you and you forgot about your plan.
Ooh. I like
You just
that.
leave all this equipment in there and then just like...
Ooh, that leaves me conflicted because I really do like that.
It was very different than what I was thinking.
What were you thinking? I can't choose it anyway.
Yeah. I was thinking you decide no, not yet, and you went to get help.
Well, this has to be an unpleasant memory, though. So I want it to end badly. And
What's pleasant about it didn't...
That's true. That's true.
And I feel like the next memory could have been like, you go in and that's how you lost your memory. Because you found out, he has people.
I think I gotta go with Jesse.
Yeah.
Because that's this is gonna go badly, and it needs to go badly. So yeah, I had a lot in my truck. Few things causing fires, a few things that caused some things to go boom. Everything that looks discreet on the outset, but when you know what you're doing, you can get it to work really well. And I just felt the revolver in my pocket and decided screw it and ran in. And he wasn't there. The place was abandoned. Seemed like he'd been gone for weeks. And so I just kind of got on my knees, started bawling.
As Carly says, oof.
Yes. Yeah, I'm gonna end it there. So, when I think of feet on a sandy beach,
It was all that was left.
You think about the long road to like
I remember,
get back at the killer who killed your son.
the death
Yeah.
Get back at Uncle
Of-
Ben's killer.
my son and the justice I
It's like,
was
Denied.
exactly. What was unpleasant about it? Everything. Oh yeah,
I don't
and
think there's a single good thing in the whole
whole
thing.
and wife is silent.
Yeah, that didn't really come into play, did it?
It honestly kind of did in the fact that like she just kind of turned in on herself, and there's like,
We didn't explain how it happened.
yeah. Well, the fact that she went mute, it means kind of helped in the sense that
We
like
all have 3 pennies.
I went off on my own.
We do. So obviously Jordan isn't going. Yeah, I just saw.
No.
Snapchat from Alyssa.
I'm trying to. Yeah, I have to figure out how
Oh yeah, sorry.
who
Thanks.
we.
Landed in Portland. Tried to get on an earlier flight to Boise because there's one that leaves in like 20 minutes. But they told me I couldn't get on even though there's open seats. So that's kind of lame. But it's okay. I'm gonna wait here for about 2 hours and then I will be on my last flight to see you guys.
Man, that would have been cool.
Watch ours dream.
So after I got off my flight,
Oh, I thought this was the story.
after I got off of my flight
To see Charlie.
to see Charlie, and it turns out Seth is actually Charlie.
Dun dun dun.
What?
That would explain a few things.
After I got off of my flight from Salina to Denver, there was a gate just down to my right that was leading to Boise right then and there. But
That's frustrating.
I walked down. I was at gate 95, where gate 95 was where the other flight to Boise was. You know where my flight was? 17.
Oh my gosh.
I walked all the way across the terminal from one end all the way to
You couldn't
the
get a
clear
tram
end
or
of the
anything
other.
like that?
No, this was one terminal.
Oof.
It was like, and there were no trams or anything. It was just
Dang.
down the whole thing.
So who goes next then?
Because we are both tied for blank sections and for number of pennies, we just have to like rock paper scissors it basically,
Okay.
Okay.
You can flip a coin.
or you can flip a penny. Yeah.
Yeah.
Heads or tails?
Tails.
Ponytails.
Heads.
All right, you go.
You'll go next.
Okay.
I figured it'd been a while since Caleb had gone, so he started. What you?
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd have been funny. Okay. Mine is a sharp blade.
None of mine have been drawn.
Dang
None
it.
of mine have you. No, one of mine did, I think.
Almost all of mine have been drawn.
Yeah.
A sharp
Sharp
blade.
blade. Man, this can't be good.
What was your first one again? The
So math that was too difficult for me.
right. And then
I
you-
met my wife. It became
Alright.
good at math. My child went on to do great things that weren't involved with math. I went back to school. I met my new wife after my other wife had died, and apparently there's a sharp blade now involved. So this is great. This is just
Do
wonderful.
we want to go the Batman route or do we want to?
She gets stabbed in an alley, and I swear vengeance.
No, because okay, I don't want to make this my question necessarily, but my first thought was, did they start off fun?
Oh, does the day start off?
Date
Does
start
the
off.
date start off?
That's so like we've had I want a different kind of depressing.
So is it? Do I do the two questions or do you do?
I do two
You
questions,
two
'cause I just went.
questions. Right.
Jesse, you played with pennies last time and you accidentally handed out pennies that weren't yours. You got the poker chips for a reason.
I'm fidgety, yes. I actually
Fidget
bought,
with a guitar.
I bought one of those fidget cubes, and they're pretty good.
A sharp blade.
My guitar's out of tune.
I have an idea. It's different, but it's better than the you got cornered in the alley and you got stabbed, which I feel is just too easy.
It's very much too easy.
You always been clumsy in the kitchen?
There it is.
Oh, perfect. Thank you. That is so much better. Yes. And honestly, so was she. We had a bit of an accident at the start of our date. I invited her over to my dorm room. We were cooking food, cutting
You
up
had a dorm room?
vegetables. Yeah, I mean, I said I moved away. I sold my
Okay,
house,
okay.
moved to the dorm. Cause
Oh, I didn't hear the sold your house part. Okay,
I
that
mean,
makes more sense then.
It probably would have sold my house. There's not really any reason.
Okay.
I wanted to like reinvent myself. So, yeah, I mean, there was an accident in the kitchen, but she wasn't good at cooking either. We both kind of like had an accident, but me particularly, right? Like I definitely like
had a pretty bad cut on my finger.
What do I do with that?
I was expecting to go so detailed with just the clumsiness.
At the suggestion of Jordan.
There are so many times when we're playing D&D and I just pick up my guitar and start fidgeting with it because I need something to fidget with. Oh man. Is that when your wife became mute? I'm kidding.
Cut her tongue out. I slipped and I cut her tongue out. Gosh.
I
What is
slipped.
wrong with you people?
I mean, we're playing this game.
No, don't go there, Jordan. I just thought of something
Yeah,
horrible.
I-
It was. You probably weren't.
Go off the clumsiness, knife, and...
I'm trying. Well, I'm trying to do
I
that.
stabbed her on accident in the chest. She was bleeding out in my dorm room. Then someone walked in and they were like, "Why did you murder her?" And I was like, "No, I didn't." But I had blood on my hands and. And then there was a single mushroom. And then everything was like.
I looked up and there was a mushroom. And I heard a voice.
And it said, You have been visited by Charlie. I am Charlie. Thou'st who you persecute.
I can think of a direction you could take.
I know what I'm gonna do now.
Okay, just
I'm
think
just
another word.
yeah.
No, this is where it gets dangerous. If I break a string, this is where it is.
You could just have it tuned down a half step.
If I had a nickel for every time I've broken the high E string while trying to tune it, I'd have a couple of nickels.
Same, yeah.
So like, if I had a nickel for every time I didn't know what was going on, I'd be like, why do I have all these nickels?
I saw that meme earlier. That
Okay.
was one of the best memes. You just keep getting more and more nickels.
What? Why? Okay.
It'd be funny if I just reported your channel right now.
Talking about drugs.
Morbid content, yeah.
Yeah.
We've done worse on your
I
stream.
mean, that's true.
So much worse.
Oh my gosh, the last stream was so just, oh my gosh. It was disturbing.
Okay. So the cut was bad, but because it's not like you cut your finger off or anything. You thought Band-Aid would just take care of it, but after you put the Band-Aid on, it just while you went to go get the Band-Aid, it completely slipped your mind that you were just using that to cut raw meat, and
That's what I was thinking.
And
so you
mushrooms.
and mushrooms, and so you forgot, and it got dangerously infected, didn't it?
That was a long yes or no question, but
I mean,
yes.
I just didn't
pretty
know how
much
to
you
phrase
just
makes
it.
sense, yeah.
Yeah, but purposely you didn't expect the cut to get infected, did you?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
thank you.
that's fine.
You didn't expect.
You're good. Yeah. I wasn't like saying it was a bad question. I just, yeah.
I was like having trouble
yeah,
writing it
that's
in
fine.
my head.
Yes, and and I ended up hospitalized for the next 2 months.
Oh, wait, you that got cut?
Yeah.
You played an F.
Oh, I thought it was
after
her
that.
that got
Oh
cut.
wait, who
I
you
thought
who
you were
you
about to play
implying?
an F.
Was it me? I got the infection or she got the infection?
You got the cut, right?
Yeah.
That you got the infection.
Okay.
Yeah, so I ended up hospitalized for 2 months because of constant medical complications. It turns out that I had another condition that they didn't know about, and this only extenuated it, and yeah, it was bad.
Turns out you were anemic.
Yeah, probably, right?
Yeah.
It turns out I was anemic.
So losing blood was not, and especially with the getting infected.
Yeah, it was a really bad time. Well, that's terrifying.
Because I thought it was.
I feel like asking something really vague. Like really vague and letting Caleb go with it.
I mean, if anyone here is good with that, it's him.
Yeah. So when you were in the hospital all those months, that's where you met him, wasn't it?
Charlie.
I figured that's what you were implying.
No.
It's Charlie.
It's
I
always
didn't mean
Charlie.
Charlie,
Okay,
but-
so this video needs to be named Charlie.
The Adventures of Charlie.
The Misadventures of Charlie.
The Misadventures of Charlie the Mushroom Man. Of Charlie the Fun Guy.
Or maybe it should just be called Charlie Fun Guy.
He was a fun guy. That's the name of this. Yeah. So your question was, is that when you met him in the hospital?
Yeah.
Yes. And my life was never the same after that. Unfortunately, I realized that my girlfriend was actually married. And
Dang it! That ruins my question.
I met her husband.
At least.
When the hospitalization happened, she realized that she was just using me for a fun little fling thing, and she was like, "Yeah, sorry, I'm married. Like, I didn't tell you. Sorry. Like, bye." Basically, that was how that went down.
Sayonara, sucker.
Yep.
My original question was going to be, do you miss her? But now it's going to be like, no, of course. Like,
I mean,
that's
yeah,
pointless.
but-
Well, no, but like that.
Yeah.
I wasn't expecting you to go the direction of that was like that. I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
I thought. Yeah.
Oh man. I'm gonna write down my thought.
If you stop for a second, let me think, Jesse. There's one thought that's like stuck in my head. So, I can't get it out of my head. I'm just gonna go with it. So that's when you got given the restraining order.
Yes, and honestly, it was because I couldn't take no for an answer.
Literally.
Yeah. I just couldn't.
Oh, I thought of an implication for the restraining order. Actually, that would affect school.
That was mine.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, obviously, right? Like, I got the restraining order. My dreams were dashed. I was out of school for 2 months, and at that point, the college was just like, your behavior is not becoming of our university, and sorry, we're gonna have to kick you out, basically. And that was great. That was fun. So yeah, I mean, you guys basically know the story up to this point. But I found myself, well, without really anything. I had sold my house. I didn't have a home because I didn't have a dorm. And honestly,
Man, that's true to life.
Yeah.
I lived that.
I didn't want to go back to my. I didn't want to go back to the career I had before. It didn't fulfill me, and right now I needed.
You were a stay-at-home dad before.
That's true. I mean, yeah, I
So you
couldn't.
couldn't.
do
You
anything.
literally
Yeah.
couldn't go back.
I
to
had nothing. I literally
Mhm.
had no career plan whatsoever. So I literally don't know what I did next. Jesse, what did I do?
I think you picked up a katana. You started a band.
Called
Mushroom
the
Collector.
Mushroom Collective.
The Mushroom Collective. The Mushroom Collective.
The Mushroom Collector.
Mushroom Collective. Hey, Jared, you want to
Um,
start a band called the Mushroom Collective?
I would love to.
All right.
It's just gonna be
So
around.
you
An
had
indie folk
nothing.
band. Christian indie folk.
He had nothing. He lost it all. But all of a sudden he saw a very tall guy.
Well-
Named Charlie.
And suddenly a guy appeared. It was Charlie.
No, so are you still in the hospital at this point? I guess
No. I got released from the hospital, at the very least. That's one thing I had going for me. Ooh, I thought of something.
I think with nowhere else to go, and with just a few dollars cash in your pocket, you went to the nearest bar, and you met someone that you shouldn't have met.
Ooh, I like that. But Seth, what would be another idea?
You moved back in with your parents.
So I walk into a bar with
Please.
$2 to my name. Yeah, I walk into a bar with a few dollars to my name.
I couldn't help myself. Sorry.
Yeah, no, that was. a
I
good
mean, between the
suggestion,
two, that was the worst option.
but,
Not like worse as in worse.
Yeah, I could say.
with only a few dollars to my name, and I met someone that I shouldn't have met.
Your father.
No. I met my son again.
Oh, that's what I was thinking.
I disconnected with him for a while, not because of anything bad, just, life happens. But I realized that think about this. I met my son again. I got to the bar and was taking had a few drinks. He sat next to me, and it had been a while since we'd seen each other, as I stated, but we left on good terms. And I mean, he was doing great things with his life. He was a professional musician, actually. And we hadn't mentioned anything about his career before, but he ended up really getting popular. And the funny thing was, this was kind of like an out of the way bar, but he had just decided randomly that he was gonna play a live music set. Not even for money. It was just kind of like an open mic night. But this really famous singer just decides to show up to this dinky bar in the middle of nowhere and play a song. And as he was playing the song that me and my deceased wife had used to sing to each other when we danced in the kitchen, I had an epiphany. I had to make a decision. I had to decide what to do with my life. I had nothing. I was dejected. And that's when
rejected.
and rejected. And that's when I had to decide to what, Jordan?
Real quick, I just realized, didn't you call in your first memory? Didn't you call that lady your second wife?
No.
I thought you did.
Which
If I did, it was a mistake.
Okay.
you did call.
You
the,
did, actually.
So I guess I meant the other way around. Like, my first wife, which means there might be a second wife in the future.
Okay.
That's what my mind was
Okay.
playing with. Yeah.
That's fine. I just thought of that.
I've only had one wife at this point,
Okay.
and one girlfriend who was married to someone else.
Or you were married to both.
Ba ba ba.
You had to make a decision when you had this
I had an
epiphany.
epiphany as my son was playing the song that me and my wife used to sing and dance in the kitchen.
That's nothing that should happen in this game. I'm not gonna repeat what I thought of. At least not yet.
No, that's true.
You decided begrudgingly that you would go to your successful brother's business
Mm-hmm.
as an electrician and ask him to take you under his wing as an electrician.
Okay. Or Seth, do you have a different idea?
Something along the same lines, actually.
Oh.
You ask.
You're moving with your birds.
Every time now, just
You. Oh, dang it! I like yours, but
Improve it. Make it your own.
make it better.
well, I actually had a different idea, but it was along the same lines. You ask your son to lend you some money.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna choose that one. Yeah, that's good.
That's like it's along the same lines.
So I decided to. I mean, I'm ashamed to even think about this, but I have nothing, and he's right there. Like the chance is right in my lap, and so I go over, and I ask my son for a loan. I need something to get me up on my feet. Instead, he offers me a job as a roadie.
That's where I was actually going to go originally, but then I thought the second one.
And yeah, like he said, you know, Dad, I think, I mean, we've been distant for a while, and I mean, you look like you really need someone around you to like help you and support you, and I think I can be that person. And my crew is great. I think that if you joined us and just helped out, setting up, tearing it down, I pay you fine, and you could just come with me, and we can maybe regain some sort of sense of the family we used to have.
As father, and we can rule the stage as
Rule this
father
song
and
as father
son.
and son.
This is supposed to be
And as son and father.
And so I guess my question is me accepting this job like well within the reason of the.
I'd say yes, just because this needs to be an unpleasant memory, and if we leave it at you accepting the job or doing something else,
Yeah.
there's a good chance it won't end unpleasant. So
So yeah, I mean, I accepted the job, well, it was an interesting series of events, honestly. The first show, he got sick, deathly sick.
mushrooms.
Yeah, it was the mushrooms again. It's the darn
Cocaine
mushrooms.
shrooms.
That's where this all started. That darned mushroom. And they needed someone to. I mean, there was an opening act, but everyone was expecting him to be there. And I mean, honestly, I didn't know what to do. I felt like I should try to do something. I should try to make it better. But I was just a roadie, and it was a mess.
But it was your son.
But it was my son. I didn't know what to do. Jordan, what did I do?
You went out on stage and you tried it. You went out on stage and tried to sing your son's songs for him, and with the band playing the instrumentation in the background.
Yeah.
You went out and you tried to save the show.
So I don't have to choose anything else because that's the one I want.
Yay!
So, I mean, I didn't have a bad voice. I've always had a good voice. I've always been able to play guitar.
That was unpleasant.
It's use weight. You know, I had music skills. I knew his songs by heart. I'd always listened to them. Ever since he began his career, I was an avid fan of his
I
music.
thought you said that he didn't know. that you didn't know that he went off to be a musician.
No, I knew that. We just
Okay.
hadn't connected.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
they would be
I know. I
just-
said we didn't know as
Okay, yeah,
players
yeah,
of the
yeah.
game that's what
Oh,
his
okay.
job was. But yeah, I mean,
Which makes sense for a
at-
mathematician.
yeah. At first, I got up there, and the crowd was obviously disappointed that he wasn't there. But then I told them the story. I said what was happening, why I was there, what had happened, and then I said, I'm gonna play the first song. I'm gonna play is the song that my son played for me. That got me out of the slump that I was once in, and he gave me this job. And it's this song that I used to play with or I used to sing with my late wife in the kitchen. And I started, and I tried. I really did. I played through some of the set. They hated me. They booed me off the stage. And honestly, I couldn't take it anymore, so I just left.
So
I mean-
when you think of
Sharp blade.
This all started from a cut in the It's ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
When I think of a sharp blade, I remember the time everyone rejected me.
Oh, ooh, that's right.
What was unpleasant about it?
Rejection.
I was left with nothing.
well, this
Nothing
person
but
still has
failure.
a job, but your son's also sick.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I might no one told me to get on stage. I just kind of did that, so that might be bad. Yeah, that's
See,
my.
I thought it was gonna be a stage hazard, and
Penny
then
for
he
my
fell
thoughts.
off the stage. Penny for your thoughts.
You got he got crushed or something like that.
Or he like fell off the stage,
Oh,
or,
gotcha.
or something. Maybe something came and hit him, and
Jesse.
Good
Any
luck.
more
It's
of
only
that
gonna
in
get
that?
worse from here.
So after I got my digital black belt license, had my comedy career, met Charlie, and set out on the road, something happened next that involved. Which one of these two? I'm holding two. Which one? This one. The sight of a sunset after a storm.
Ooh.
Interesting.
you want to find me drawn. Bad.
Finally, one of mine.
Is that the first one of yours? Mine were all dumb.
We work with them. Digital
This is the
black
only
belt.
one that is of mine that's been drawn. That's the
It's
digital
funny.
black belt, yeah.
So Caleb asks the first question.
Oh yeah, you're right.
The sight of a sunset after a storm.
The sight of a sunset after a storm. And you, what was your whole situation? What did you do?
Comedian.
So I
the
had
whole
my
Charlie
digital
with
black
comedian.
belt.
digital
Yeah.
black belt license. I had a
Gosh.
short-lived comedy career on
This sounds-
Instagram, and then I met Charlie, and we set out touring on the road together.
And so he was gonna teach you actual comedy, yeah?
Yeah, he was gonna teach me how to be a comedian, and the last we saw our heroes, they were in a van on the road touring together.
Okay, so the sunset. It was a sunset, yeah.
Yeah.
After
The
sunset
sight
after a
of
storm.
a sunset
Right.
after a storm.
So that sunset was the night of your last show with Charlie, wasn't it?
Oh, yes. I have to say yes.
Goodbye, Charlie.
Goodbye, Charlie.
Pretty sure that's like, that should be the sequel to Hello, Charlie, the old Disney show.
Oh my gosh. Hello, Charlie. Goodbye, Charlie.
Yeah.
Yes, that was after my last show with Charlie. And I knew that where he was heading was a dangerous place. As often happens with Charlie.
Yeah.
Did you know that this was the last time you would ever see Charlie?
Ooh.
Yes.
Yes, you did.
I mean, I kind of just insinuated that. Yes. I knew that he couldn't stay away from mushrooms for long. Should I say something? Should I say something that doesn't relate it to the other Charlie? That actually was my original intention, was to relate it to his Charlie.
Do whatever you want.
I mean, if you want to take that.
Yes, I knew this would be my last show with Charlie. Because I knew that
Well, the last time that you'd ever see Charlie.
I knew that this would be the last time I played a show with Charlie because I knew that he couldn't stay on the right side of the law for very long.
He's been years on the lam and had a high price.
he tempted you to cross that line a few times, didn't he?
Yes, of course he did. I mean, when you're on the road as a touring entertainer, you know, you have the standard, you know, the life of an entertainer is often defined by alcohol and marijuana use, but, you know, that's just the stuff everyone did. You know, Charlie wasn't just an anybody here.
So Jesse's kind of taken what yours was last time.
Yeah.
Except he's not about to jump off into a pool.
So give me a rundown of all the answers to the questions so far
Yeah.
to get a
So,
bigger picture of this.
I said I said to your question, I knew that Charlie was going down the wrong path. I
Okay.
said to him
It was
that
the last time.
it would be the last time I had did a show with Charlie because I knew that Charlie wasn't on the right side of the law.
Okay.
And I said to you that Charlie, that everyone, in a sense, everyone would tempt you with things like alcohol and marijuana, but Charlie was way worse than that.
He would tempt you with mushrooms. C4 in them. That's the big stuff.
Talk about a flavor explosion.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean,
Leaves all the other mushrooms in the dust.
Oh my god!
That was fantastic.
took me a little bit.
Fantastic, Jordan. I love it. Look more like spores, but
Did you find Charlie dead in a pool of blood, surrounded by gangsters? No, surrounded by drug dealers who
So much-
Why
he
is
owed
that
money
so
to.
specific?
Surrounded by drug dealers who he owed money to.
Why so specific? Yes, yes I did.
Because we need to kill him before he does any more damage.
We need to kill Charlie.
I mean, we don't know whether this lies in the timeline of our stories. He can still mess up stuff in our story.
Yes, I found Charlie dead in a pool of blood surrounded by drug dealers who owed him money.
he owed money.
I don't know if I can add much to that.
A detail we don't know.
Yes, a detail we don't know.
Snap? Yeah. Okay.
And
Snap.
in that moment, in that moment, all that I hoped for was that no one would know that I was the one that did it.
Wait, I don't want to miss this. I need to go to the bathroom.
Wow.
What the twist?
What they twist?
Okay, Darius.
Actually, that wasn't Darius. That was
Okay, can I
Responsibility.
just go IRL for a second and say that I actually got that from, like, I can't remember what it was. Was it from Law and Order? It was from some crime show where this girl, like, her dad is the mob boss and he goes to jail and he tells his daughter, "Now I want you to find the one that ratted me out," and she's like, "But the last thing I want him to know is that it was me," and it's like,
It reminds me of our fiasco, the game fiasco.
Yeah, that was a good fiasco.
Tony Galvo.
Tony Gallo.
Hey, Tony. Seth and I actually said a little while ago that we were going to watch The Godfather together. We never did that.
And
I
then,
used to watch The Godfather with Kyle.
and then
We have
you
time.
learn how to play the Godfather theme on guitar like Slash.
Oh, man.
It's not that hard because it's a pretty slow.
I want to play... why did I go straight... When you said play, my mind went straight from guitar to poker. I'm like, I want to play Shark Cage. Oh, wait, that's not guitar. That's a poker thing.
You want to play poker while watching the Godfather.
I want to play I want to play poker with guitars. Where like Epiphone, where like a Fender, like a Squire Bullet is like the lowest value chip, and then like a PRS is like the highest value chip. And you're like, I bet 8 PRSs. You're like, oh man,
He's serious. Why so serious?
Oh boy.
Anyway. Okay,
Yeah,
so is
sweet.
that all the questions?
I think it is.
Yep.
Okay, so
So give the lowdown on like the stuff, the summary first.
yes. So Charlie and I, we toured for about 4 months, and it started out great. It started out being the most fun that I'd ever had, being on the road, actually doing shows that people loved, making light of my former persona as official fake ninja man.
I forgot that was even. There's been so much that has happened to this
Yeah.
person.
Although I kept the Instagram handle just for safekeeping.
I mean, yeah.
As a wise man would.
Yes.
Gotta have a fallback plan.
My backup plan is a ninja.
Fall back on.
I still
fake
I still had my fake black belt with me.
I like to think that like your act is like what it was like a mix of like magic tricks, karate, and comedy.
I like to think it was almost like a prop comedy thing. Like
Yeah.
I'd be doing like a carrot top almost. Anyway, we toured for about 4 months, and Charlie was very skilled at his job. He was very good at understanding the audience. He was very good at knowing how to write in such a way that would connect with the audience.
He was too dangerous.
He was too powerful.
This power cannot be contained.
Great power.
He must
comes
be
great
kept alive.
With great, we so can't focus right now.
No.
It's not the Jedi way.
Are we even gonna make it to the end of this game?
Yes, we will.
Okay, if you
Yeah.
say so. We have like, I feel like we should set a time limit.
We
on
have
our turns
3
or something.
hours. Go ahead.
Until, yeah, we have 3 hours until all this.
Anyway, so yeah, he was amazing at writing, catering to the audience, being the person in the room that everyone loved, and it always just seems that the mind of a genius has some kind of cruel twist to it, you know.
Amen.
Because
Not that I know
Charlie.
anything about that.
Because Charlie, he was a genius. I mean, he understood people. He had a deep understanding of people and their emotions. He loved mushrooms.
It's true.
He did.
Um,
He loved mushrooms.
Loved him till the
The
end.
mushrooms loved him.
and mushrooms loved him back. But it sounds so cliche. There
I
was a dark
knew.
side to Charlie. But really, the mind of a genius always has a cruel twist to it. And Charlie, I could go 2 different ways with this. I could either just go normal and boring with drugs, or I could go for something even more interesting.
Go weird.
Mushrooms.
Still pretty interesting.
Charlie,
Super.
As I
Liposuction.
found out-
Illegal liposuction.
Charlie, as I found out, was of Sicilian descent.
Sicilian.
I get the cut of your jib.
And as we traveled around the countryside, as we traveled east, we were headed in the direction of Massachusetts. He would take the opportunity of being on the road to contact several of his affiliates, and he was connected with the Sicilian mafia from all over the country, and this touring job, it wasn't necessarily a front, because he did love doing it. He genuinely loved doing the comedy, doing the shows, pleasing the crowd. So it wasn't.
Charlie is such a complicated individual.
So it wasn't a front for the mafia, but let's say it was an easy opportunity for him to maintain his connections. So,
I mean, it's as much a front as the Italian mafia being fronted by a pizza place. Like, they actually do like making pizza, too.
so
Mafia only eat fish.
So, one night when we were in, not 2 nights. One night, we were in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Let's just say.
Okay.
We were in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania.
City of Brotherly Love, yeah.
And he,
Like the love between Charlie and his mushrooms.
like, oh my god, this is just getting worse.
Yeah.
It's not a forbidden love.
I love you, mushrooms, just as much as you love me.
Mushrooms senpai. Mushrooms
More than
senpai.
once, more than once,
That get weird.
more than once, he'd invited me to join him on a job, whether it was just going and dealing, whether it was going and talking to some debtors, or
Debtors.
yeah,
Debtors. Not debtors.
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 But I said no, man. He even promised me a cut of the cash, and I said no. There's no way.
As long as you didn't. Never mind, just keep going.
And this one time,
I'm so dumb.
we were in Philadelphia, and he said to me, Jesse, this time I really need you to come with me. I really need someone. He was frank with me. He said, I really need someone to cover me. And I really didn't know what to do. I knew there was a chance that oh goodness, this is
So
just
you
started.
covered
This
him
is
in
just
the-
started. I haven't even given
I
any pennies
know.
yet. I have so much further to
You
go.
haven't even gotten to the point where you can give questions yet.
So
well,
you covered him in lead.
Well, how about this then? He said, I really need someone to cover me tonight. We already know that he dies, but what did I do? I can't remember what I did at that point.
Well, we have to we have to start it after the point.
Yeah.
You just start it after your memory.
After
Oh,
like
So
literally
it has
the
to
last thing that
start-
happens
yeah.
if you're standing looking at him as he's dead.
That's why I was like, man, you're taking a long time to get to the part where we
Well,
can ask
I-
questions.
dang it,
I mean, we can kind of just like skim through the rest of it,
Just
right?
skim through the
Obviously.
rest.
No, I wanted to have some kind of. Yeah, it turns out he'd been in trouble for quite a long time with the higher ups, and even though he was using this to keep his connections and to help his family out, it turns out he'd also been in a lot of trouble, and he was we went to an alley. He got confronted by all of them, pretty much, and I wasn't going to interfere. There was no way. And
But you did. You already said you did it.
I did.
Yeah, you said like you when you started by mobsters, like I hope no one finds out that I'm the one who did it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Dang it! I forgot about that string.
Mhm.
So I have to somehow. Yeah, because I was gonna say something like I was the one that set it up.
That would count.
Well, yeah. I'll just say that. So what Charlie didn't know was that I'd actually got in touch with his bosses,
Mm-hmm. The higher ups
And-
came into contact with you, and then.
and they said, they asked me. They said they needed to get rid of him, and they asked me what I could do, and I said, look, I'll tell him that I'll tell him that I'm coming to cover him. I'll bring him to this street. I can pretend to run away, and you guys can do what you need to do. And after I'd given myself enough time, I came back to that same street, and I saw him there, and I knew that I just killed my friend. So,
What'd you do after you killed your friend?
did I go to McDonald's? We're
We're going to Disney World!
Well, I'm hungry. Time for lunch.
And then I left and never saw him again, but that's just the way things go. And I
So, when I
You don't know what that song is?
I don't think so.
I was trying to.
when I saw Charlie, I'll give you guys a chance here. When I saw Charlie lying dead in the street, I couldn't bear the sight of him, and I immediately just turned around and walked the opposite direction.
Are you sure?
Maybe I'm not. Who has some moolah, or who needs moolah? Yeah. I was about to go to you, but I'm like, wait, you have more than enough.
I can start the next thing already. I don't need to be asked anything else for the rest of the thing.
I have ideas. I'm just standing over here because my phone case is literally falling apart.
Caleb, what do you
Nobody.
think I did?
I think you tried to take his place. I think I think you pushed down any latent feelings of regret or guilt, and you walked right up to these mafia bosses, and you've been around with Charlie for a little while. You know kind of you've been paying attention to what's been going on, yeah. And you just say, I want in. I can do it way better than he did.
And I won't end up like that mess on the ground.
And this is the side of I should have mentioned something like that. It was a stormy day that day.
Oh yeah, of course it was.
Well,
Because it was the sunset then, yeah.
Oh,
That's what reminds me.
Seth, what do you think I did?
I think
I can point out. I would nitpick and point out that Caleb's idea is historically inaccurate, but because the Italian mafia doesn't accept people who aren't of Italian descent.
Oh, are you like legitimate? This is like legitimately the Italian mafia.
Well,
I thought it was just like some.
Well, he said he's had Sicilian descent. So.
oh yeah.
Oh, okay.
Anyway,
my idea
it's I'll
my,
roll with it.
my
if I need
idea
to.
is that
If
I mean,
Seth's
he
is
could
worse.
still-
If
that-
Seth's
you
is
could
if
still-
Seth's is worse.
Your character could still be Italian.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
my thought was
Maybe that's why.
you assumed that you take care of him and they take care of the rest, but they threw you underneath the bus and you killed him, and they're like, okay, and so you now have to take care of the body and everything by yourself, and the cover up and all of that.
They like leave you and they're just like, all right, clean that mess up for us.
Yeah, they left you to take care of the mess essentially. Since you offered, they're like, okay, you offered, we're not doing anything else.
And so the idea would be he would actually have to like take care of the mess because you just described something that someone else does, but
Well, the idea is like he finds out, he goes to them to ask them, so like, okay, I did it, take care of it, and they're like, well, why did you do it?
yeah, and then he has to do it. Okay, yeah, sure.
Those are both okay.
Thanks, Jesse.
Wow.
I'm leaning towards
dare
Caleb.
you.
I think.
That's fine.
Yeah. We'll say I've been Italian the whole time, and not that really matters
Yeah.
for the sake of the storytelling. I'm just. I've actually read books about the mafia before because I find it
Right,
fascinating.
sure, yeah. I just didn't realize it was like you were talking about like the legitimate Italian mafia with all the
Double
restrictions
pizza.
that come.
So I
Pizza and comedy.
pizza.
It also works a little better.
comedy and racketeering.
Your autobiography.
How I went from ninja
Ninja to mafia.
from
In
what do you
3
say?
easy steps.
From ninja to gangster. I don't know.
Ninja to gangsta.
From ninja to gangsta in 3 easy steps.
Step
Step
one, have
one,
kids
meet
and forget
Charlie.
about them.
Step 2, kill Charlie.
Oh, that's right, there's
Step
the
3,
kids.
take Charlie's place.
Wait, do I?
You have kids.
Oh my gosh! They're getting checks every month, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I've heard stories of kids who live, with their dad's famous and he's on tour and stuff like that.
My dad's internet famous. What does your dad
My
do?
dad is a ninja. My dad is a ninja who's also in the mob.
Ninja mom.
What a way to start that conversation. Like, what does your dad do? He's a ninja.
In the mob.
Oh my
He beats
god.
up people who don't give him money.
I
Oh
can
my
keep
God.
stinging. You should
Okay,
continue.
so I go up to them and I say, hey, I know he messed up. I think I can do way better. And, to my surprise, should I do that? I was gonna say if they say no, but then I just have to start from scratch.
Yeah.
All right, so they they say, yeah, we'll take you into our club. How about
Take
that?
you in the walk club. How about that?
How about that? Catch me outside.
What was the name of the mob boss we played?
Tony Calvo.
Tony Calvo.
Tony Calvo. My favorite thing with him was the shard with the shard of glass. Do you remember that part? He was like talking to your character, and like at one point I had thrown down my glass, and then it shattered, and I picked up a piece and I threw it at your character, and it like scratched past him, and then I said like the shard of glass that fell in the water, go get it, and you're like, I'm not gonna go get it, Calvo, and I'm like, they won't come searching for you either.
Yeah, that's good. I remember that.
That was the
So
That's a good character.
yeah,
based on
I
my
got-
Bible mentor.
I got into the business as much as I'd turned down. And it felt terrible, honestly, because as much as I'd turned down Charlie when he was on his business trips, all of a sudden I was.
Well, because you know if you
immersed
went
in
with
myself.
him, that it'd all be a mess, but you can do it better.
I can do it better.
Yeah.
So yeah, I knew that
Everything
I
you
would
can do,
I
you
would
will
be
do
I would be
better.
way better than Charlie ever was.
Any
Both
drug
it-
you can do, I can do
Oh my
better.
God.
I was gonna say I'd be way better than
You can
Charlie
do
ever
any-
was at mushrooms and
Any shroom you can do, I can do better.
I can stuff C4 in all of them too.
Yeah. Perfect.
Continue.
So, my first job, it was a simple one. We were just,
You can walk through if you need to.
hi Cody. Say hi to the stream, Cody.
Like the one person who's watching.
Say hi to Cody, chat.
Hi to Cody chat.
So my first job, it was a simple one. We were just doing a hit, and it was gonna be.
You're just murdering someone. Pretty easy.
It was gonna be.
No,
Well,
no,
Can
was gonna-
you do drugs?
It was
Don't
gonna
do
be.
drugs,
It was.
kids.
It was gonna be
Talk to
quick.
him.
It was gonna be quick, and I wasn't even the one doing the dirty work. I was just driving the car.
So you're a baby driver now.
Yeah, and as soon as my brother gets back in the car, trying to pull like a weird Italian accent. As soon as my brother gets back in the car, just turns to me, pats me, says, "Come on, go." And for a second, I froze up.
Did you?
I was wanting to get another sentence. I was gonna say I froze up, and I don't remember what I did next.
Oh, okay, that works. I'm fine with that.
Seth, what do you think I did next?
This is your first job, right?
Yeah.
I think you started kind of hyperventilating and just like realizing what you're doing. Just like the weight of the situation of what you're doing is kind of just now setting in on you. And you literally just freeze up. You're like tense, start hyperventilating, get like lightheaded. Maybe even pass out.
What do you think, Halo?
So I think that you freeze. similar to what Seth said, right? You freeze, you can't go, and the guy's yelling at you like, go, 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 go. But then someone walks out, and they recognize you as the official fake ninja.
Oh! I can't know. Choose Caleb's. This is so much better than mine.
Okay, we're coming full circle
Uh-huh.
here.
That works so much better than mine.
So,
Amazing.
Thank you.
if I don't stand up, I'm gonna fall asleep. So.
Yeah, you're good.
Oh man. So. Yeah. I go into a daze for a moment as I hear my boss telling me to go, and I just don't know what to do. And we see someone walk past us
As they drop their poker chips.
as they drop their poker chips. He's like I said, these aren't even good poker chips. I love to play with good poker chips because those are nice and nice.
Nice like corn.
Less like Necco
Corn.
wafers.
Corn on the cob. Corn is nice.
I guess I can't disagree with that.
I'll just go on the record and say these are not poker chips. These are Necco wafers.
Anyway, you should continue. That's the reason it's taking so long.
So
But it's funny, Seth.
It is. I know.
Someone passes us walking down the street, and they look at me, and their eyes light up, and they point, and they say, "Is that Ninja?"
The streamer?
No,
Yeah.
Ninja the streamer, yes. And I realize now that I'm way in over my head.
I was like, this was a horrible idea. Why did I think I should be a member of the mafia? I'm internationally famous.
And I step on the gas as hard as I can. But when I'm stepping on the gas, I'm so set on just trying to get away from what's happening. I'm trying to get away from what's just happened, both the murder and being recognized as internationally famous official fake ninja man.
Yeah.
And I can keep driving and driving, but I can't get away from what I've done because it's me. And as I have all these thoughts just running through and through and through my head, would this be a decision point? I don't know.
You can't go through, yeah, if you don't know what you're going to do.
As I have all these thoughts running through and through my head, I don't even notice that I'm coming up right behind a large truck,
Mm-hmm.
and there's a real blur there. I mean, I don't know what I did there. Seth, what do you?
It's always something obvious. The first thing that pops in my head. The obvious thing you're leading me into.
Crash or going.
I mean, I guess it's like, okay, what are my options? I can crash, I can swerve and hit something else, I can kill myself. No.
Not
I
yet.
think-
Not yet.
Well, obviously something has to happen with the car. So I think what happens is you swerve just in time. You swerve, but not quite quick enough, and you hit the side of the car that your boss is in, and he dies. He dies. He gets killed, but you are still kicking.
Okay. Me like? Caleb, do you have an idea?
I think you managed to swerve out of the way of the truck. And you and your boss are totally fine. Unfortunately, you kill a
Puppy.
you kill a random like civilian, just a random innocent person. You run them over, and you're just sitting there shaking, right, as you realize you just murdered someone. You just killed someone because of this whole situation. Someone who did absolutely nothing to you.
With both of those, I feel like,
You could do some fun with both.
yeah.
Someone's gonna die here. It's not gonna be you, but you're gonna wish it was.
I'm gonna give it to Seth.
Yay!
So I swerve. There's a term for it. And the side of the car runs into the truck,
T-Bone?
and
Reverse T-bone.
it's like where the two cars kind of go like this instead of
Side
like.
swipe? Not side swipe.
Um,
I remember.
but yeah, it completely knocks my boss out of the car, and there's no way he survives it. I'm just gonna say that's true.
Yeah.
And I'm driving a deformed car. Deformed car.
Yeah.
And I realize I've got to get out of this. I can't be in the business when I'm so recognizable. And if I go to the house and say that my boss is dead, I don't know what they're gonna do to me. See, that's the hard thing. Is like, it would be great if that was the ending. Like, I get there and I get shot, but then, well, how did I get here then?
Yeah.
So I know if I go to the house, I'm gonna have a tough time explaining that one. But then again, if I don't go to the house, they're gonna know something's up, and maybe it'd be better to explain that he died in the mission than to try to say try to run away, because I know how much Charlie tried to run away from him. So with that in mind, got off the highway and I turned around. Well, I guess we wouldn't be turning around, would we? I got off the highway and I started driving in the direction of the house.
Are you sure?
Well, I don't know if I'm sure. What do you think?
I think you just leave the city. I think you just leave all of this entirely, and you realize that you have to do what Charlie did or not what Charlie did, but the guy who killed Seth's family did, and like get away, like in the middle of nowhere. Like the only way that you can ever live some sort of like life at this point is if you can't be seen by anyone.
My kids have just become like an afterthought at this point.
Yeah.
There's only so many details you could fit in.
Yeah. Seth, what do you think I did?
I think you think Charlie, what Charlie was doing didn't work. Can't run, can't go to them. Then you think there's one way I can go to them. So what is this like house? Is it literally just like a one-story house or something like that, or what?
Just like I was assuming it was like a nice like hotel almost, where the mafia is doing their meetings.
Oh, that ruins my idea. I was gonna say like you run the car into the. Oh no, that still works. I think what you do is you think you can't go to the house. You can't leave because they'll find you. So what you decide to do, rig up the car with some explosives.
Some explosive mushrooms from Charlie's collection.
Put a brick on the accelerator, run it straight into the house.
Yeah.
It can't follow you if they don't exist.
Yeah. That's pretty cool.
You're dead.
You make him go bye-bye.
Here comes the boom.
So one is I run away, the other is I blow it up.
Let's just say they going on any drives anytime soon. Let's just say they're checking out. If you catch my drift.
I mean, either way, this kind of ends it. So
Yeah,
we're done.
yeah. We already had one. Well, we've had a runaway story and we've had a blow it up story already. So either way, I'm not being original.
When it was just gonna be a house, I was literally just gonna say you drive through it, but it's like it's a hotel. I'm like, you kind of got to do more than just drive through it.
Gotta drive up
We
to
could
the
say it's a house. I don't know.
Well, it's-
Well, either way.
Maybe it's a vacation home. No, I'm kidding.
So
Maybe it's a warehouse where they keep.
ooh, that works.
Like a warehouse where they.
It's always a warehouse, it
Yeah.
seems.
Sometimes there's 13 of them.
sorry, this is hard. This is a tough
No, you're good.
50-50.
You always flip a coin.
You could.
You know what? Why don't I? Heads is Caleb, tails is Seth. That did look funny, didn't it? I'll flip the penny that I'm going to give to you.
Yeah.
That makes it more symbolic, right?
Yeah.
Tails is Seth.
Woo!
So
Blow it
I.
up. Woo! Explosions.
So I.
Come on, guys, don't look at explosions.
So I.
They rig a car and then walk away.
Blow stuff up and they walk away. So I find a gentleman on the street who doesn't know what's happened. He's just a dealer. He's just a rookie, and he doesn't know that I'm stuck in this situation, right? So I just say, hey, for our next job, we're gonna need some nitro, and he trusts me. Says, sure, I'm part of the business. He's sure that I have authority. He doesn't know for sure. Filled the car as much as I could of nitro, and put it in drive, jumped out, tried my best to walk away, and all these stories have ended pretty much the same way, where it's like we're just in a sort of what do we do now kind of scenario,
But that's why we have these.
Exactly. But yeah, I jump out, and as I'm walking away, I just think, where the heck am I gonna go from here?
As
There
you
we
walk
go.
away like a superhero with the explosion behind you.
So when I think of the sight of a sunset after a storm,
You think about the night that you killed your mentor.
Okay. Journey
I
of Four as
remember
well?
um,
Heads or tails?
killing Charlie.
Tails.
You got it.
Oh.
Killing my boss,
Yeah.
and running away.
We finally come back to the story of the backbone of all of these stories, Charlie and the mushroom stuff.
And should we say what's unpleasant about it?
I mean, everything.
What is it?
Burning dandelions.
That was
Wasn't
not
me.
mine.
Burning dandelions. I love it.
Ooh, I have ideas, but it's Jesse's call.
Oh, am I the one that gets to ask 2 questions?
Remind us what the last thing that happened with Charlie.
Yeah, I really don't know what's going on with you. You haven't talked in
Yeah.
like 2 hours.
I know.
Closing in
Dead
on
mom, no house, no mushrooms, no friends. Charlie probably still out there.
So you
I was trying to start a band, or we started the
started the band,
band, and well, the band probably is not getting.
and
back
Charlie
together.
showed up at your mom's funeral. You tried to kill him.
Mm-hmm.
Got a
then-
book deal.
Got a book deal. And
And
people were showing up at your house. That was what I was forgetting.
And you rigged the house
People
to blow.
showed up at your
A
house
lot of
and you rigged the
explosives
house
this
with
time.
explosive mushrooms.
I got a book deal.
So we finished with the house exploding.
And you walked out, and yeah,
Well,
you've
gotten away.
you've
I'm
gotten
like-
away, but you had nothing. That was the
Okay.
deal.
So now burning dandelions.
Burning dandelion.
I would say that I was considering like the end, like what the getting away looks like is like he ends up in a field, or I ended up in a field somewhere. Was kind of my thought, but you take it wherever you guys want.
So this is recall how you came to be here, which is get you. How did he lose his memory? That's what this is about.
Can I play craps with these? Passing.
Ask your questions, Jesse.
So.
Burning dandelion.
So after that happened with the house, it took you a long time to start your new garden, didn't it?
That's funny.
Yes, it did, and
But the mushrooms were better than ever.
yes, it did, and because I had nothing, I just ran off, and I managed to find like a small, out of the way spot in the wilderness where I could just basically build a garden and live off the land.
I
is
mean,
what
yeah,
I
you
knew.
could survive. You know about mushrooms,
I know
man.
what I'm doing. I'm just trying to stay incognito.
Still hurts every time you see mushrooms, though, doesn't it?
Yes, physically, in fact. Like I start to almost I start to get nauseous when I see any sort of mushroom. Try to steer clear of them. Try to make sure I keep the environment clear in a way that they don't start growing. I don't need any more of this in my life.
Don't need to have those toxic things
Super
in your life.
Mario be done here.
Did you spend the next 20 years isolated from everyone you ever knew?
So specific.
Yep.
It's his thing.
Yes, I did, and it was equally the most insanity driving and peaceful times of my life.
So, I mean, we all know that you couldn't stay away from your true passion for long. 20 years is still not that long. But when you came back to it, it sure got you in trouble, didn't it?
Yes.
I've been clean for
and-
20 years on these mushrooms.
It's an expression of joy. Yes.
This is the life of a mushroom farmer we're talking about here.
Yep.
Yes, and I was a little hasty, and I managed to wander my way back into town after
Took some
taking
bad
after-
mushrooms.
After taking a couple, there was
Don't do drugs.
Don't
What we need is like a chat thing that like triggers when you even say the word drugs. Like it just automatically goes in chat.
Just, again, add exclamation point drugs.
voice bot.
Yeah.
I have it. I'll give you that.
I'll figure it out.
But I took a couple that I wasn't ready for because it had been so long, and I didn't even realize I had 20 years, you get a little rusty on your mushroom herbology. And, I mean, it was quite the trip in more ways than one. I made my way back into town and didn't realize I was in town until things kind of wore off. And we go through the whole thing one more time where it's like, I spend my pennies, right?
Yeah.
Okay, that's what I thought.
Could I see the book, Caleb?
Mm-hmm.
So you're in town.
Yeah. What I didn't expect was to see one of the old members from the Mushroom Gang that was at the funeral, not Charlie, one of the good chaps. He saw me and he saw how raggedy I was, and he was just really confused. He thought that I was like long gone, and he was super shocked to see me at first. And he asked me where I had been and what had happened since the funeral. But because the last time he ever saw me or remembered was just me running after the funeral. But I don't remember what I told him. Seth, do you remember what I told him?
Does he asked you what you've been doing since the funeral?
Yeah.
I think
And then he noticed that I looked horrible.
I think you're still kind of in a drugged haze, and you're like trying to think of what you've been doing over the last 20 years, but it's been so much of just the same monotony that you're really not sure yourself what you've been doing.
Okay.
Because it's been so it's been so monotonous that you're like time just kind of melds with itself.
Yeah. Caleb? What? Is that... Yeet! Is that what I did? Is that what happened? Was I didn't remember because I was still in the
What part of
daze.
that was what you had said, and what part of it was what Seth had?
Seth was basically saying... so I said... basically that I stumbled back into town. I ran into the guy from the old Mushroom Gang, and that he noticed me. He's like, "Hey, what's you look terrible. What's been going on since the funeral?"
Yeah.
What was
And
my
so what
response?
was your response? I think you said, "Let me show you," and you brought him to your abode.
Oh,
That's cool. Dang it! Why? You're having such good ones.
yeah.
Jealous.
I mean, if it's any consolation, Seth, you already have 4.
I know, but I'm just.
But no,
I want-
yeah.
I wanna think
Many,
of myself.
many years improvising a lot.
Yeah. That's good. Yeah. So I took it. So let me show you, and I brought him back to my little sort of survival hut or survival cave, if you will. My little
Shack.
garden. And he was stunned at just the complexity and intricacy of the how it's all so meticulous and it's almost automated.
There's actually a note in here on whether people's memories are allowed to like cross, and I'm like, Charlie.
What's it say? Out of curiosity.
I've been asked several times if the patient's story should intersect or be separate. I've found that I enjoy it most when all the stories deal with similar themes but don't cross over directly. Consider what benefit the introduction of a crossover will get you. Also, keep in mind that because of the structure of the game, you have no control over what your own character does in another traveler's memory.
Oh, let's talk about
Yeah.
crossing over exact characters. We're not crossing over like side characters.
I mean,
Charlie's-
Charlie's the main character, Seth.
Yeah.
Okay. So he says he told me basically, wow, man, that's amazing that you've been able to do all of this, but you kind of look like you're living in rags. You know what? Maybe you could, take some of what you've been doing here and bring it back to the city, and we can, take this and do something good with it. Help people with it. And he, so he invites me to come back into the city, and we'll get things straightened out. But I don't remember what my response to him was. I don't remember what I did with his invitation. Jesse, do you remember what I?
Blow him up.
Sorry, I was a little distracted there.
That's all right.
So the situation was that
One of the guys from the Mushroom Gang, I brought him back to my little tiny house, my little garden, and he's like, "Hey, why don't you come back into the city, and then we can move some of this, and we can try to do good and help people with it."
So with that invitation, what did you do?
Yep.
I think that you accepted his invitation, but with one caveat, that no one must know who you really are.
I'm really tempted to go for that. Seth, do you have?
I have something I think is pretty good.
Okay.
I think you look at your home, think of what he said, and just think to yourself, you don't want to help people. You've tried helping and it's just gotten you in trouble. And honestly, right now, you just want to be numb. You don't care about going back and helping people. You're just like, no, I want to forget.
Yeah, no, I do. I think I try to numb. I try to forget. So I reject his offer and tell him no, I can't go back. I need to get away from everything. In fact, I can't let anyone know that you were I can't let anyone know that I'm here. I can't let you let anyone know I'm here.
Oh no!
For the record, we didn't do anything with the burning dandelions thing.
Not yet.
Not yet.
Oh, I can still include that in. Okay. Oh, that's right. Cause yeah. Okay.
We just asked questions kind of surrounding it, but
Yeah, about like the garden and
Yeah,
being
okay.
cleaned up. So that's
I said garden to try to insinuate dandelions.
Yeah.
you could incorporate it some other way if you want to.
Oh, I've got something.
I think I have an idea.
he makes Molotov cocktails with burning dandelions. Throw them at you.
By the way, this whole thing is written like really creepily. I get that's the point,
I
but
know. It's awesome.
I think I need to stop him, but what? Excuse me, Jesse. What did I excuse me do next?
did I fart?
What did I?
So you feel like
I feel like I need to get rid of.
If anyone knows where you are, even him that it's a danger to you.
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
Hmm.
Uh-oh.
Spaghettios.
I think you. I was gonna say you pull out a mushroom and you
Whack
chuck it at him, and he ingests it.
No. Shove it down his throat.
And smother him with a giant mushroom.
You turn him into a mushroom.
We're in the 21st century. There's no magic.
I did see in there. There's like an
You are what you
there's
eat,
like an
Caleb.
alternate rule set
Alternate
where you
rules,
can
yep.
play as like secret agents or play as with magic and stuff.
We don't need to because you are what you eat. Which is why I'm so bananas.
I think
Thank you. Thank you.
you know what? I'm just gonna go for the easiest thing, and someone else can make up something weirder. I think you grab a nearby vase, and you just try to go at him.
The classic
And-
smash a vase over someone's head. Yeah.
Because if he gets out, then you'll
Yeah.
never see the end of it.
Yeah.
But maybe that isn't what happened.
No, that is what happened. Actually, I remember. That is what happened. And
Whack.
Y'all kind of have to give them to me at this point because I'm the only one with.
Yeah.
But it's
I
okay.
mean, no, because
Caleb and I still
So-
have to go, and we'll probably
yeah.
give you something.
yeah, they still have turns to go as well. But so I try to attack him with the vase, but I'm still out of it. So I make a swing and he like ducks out of the way, and I make another swing and he like moves out of the way. And he like as he's backing away, he like and it's like it's gotten to about nighttime at this point. I mean, I think this whole thing's probably taking place in the evening, and I have the place well lit with like lanterns and stuff, just for me to be able to get around.
Mm-hmm.
And I think he stumbles back into a lantern and knocks it into the garden,
Perfect.
into the patch of dandelions that I've been neglecting for the past couple of weeks. 'Cause
Actually, you've probably been eating them because dandelions are edible.
oh, they are. Yeah, yeah. Into my
Make tea out of them.
yeah. So he
It's not even bad tea.
he's I've knocked the he backs up and knocks the lantern into the dandelions, and I start to panic, and I started to panic. I ran into the house to try to get some of my things to try to stop it, but he came in and he's trying to stop me and trying to get me out and away from the fire because he doesn't want me to die there or anything. But the integrity of the house is starting to corrupt. The fire's spreading rapidly, and this the little shack that I have built, this little makeshift whatever, starts to come down, and I see a branch is about to come down on his head, part of the house. Something's about to come down and like fall on him and crush him. And it's like I had this brief moment of pause, like time just slowed down. But I don't remember what I did. Seth, do you remember what I did?
This has to go into how you lost your memory too.
Mm-hmm. This is the last one.
I think what you do, you see him, you look down, and you see a mushroom. Look back up, down, kneel down, pick the mushroom, pop it in your mouth.
I like that. Caleb, is that what happened though?
I don't think so. I
Okay.
think you leap to save your friend.
Okay.
You leap to save your friend as this branch, right, is falling down and about to crush him. And it misses both of you. You tackle him to the ground. But his face lands in the patch of burning dandelions, face first. And he's screaming. And you back away slowly, realizing like what you've done, even accidentally. And then you suddenly remember that you still have a small cache of those C4 mushrooms, and then everything goes black.
See, I was going along the lines of the mushroom was a
Mushroom.
poisonous one that made you lose your memory, but
Yeah.
C4 mushrooms is interesting
I
too.
know. It's so hard, but I think I'm gonna go with that. That's so good.
Is mine?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And then everything went black.
Or
No.
white, depending.
Huh?
Or white, depending.
I mean, a little bit. First it was white.
Then it was
Then it was
black.
black. Then it was white again. And I was, well.
In a straight jacket. Yeah. Cool.
So when I think of burning dandelions, I remember the fire that scorched
Heads or tails?
my friend
It's tails.
and
Technically shield,
set
but
off
there are actually tails
C4
on any coin.
shrooms.
None that we have anyway.
Yeah.
Oh, wait to look at it.
How did you lose your memory? C4 mushrooms plus fire.
I should do. That was pretty good. Okay.
Okay, cool.
A lonely mountain in the distance. This is actually very fitting given how mine ended.
Yep.
So,
Recap.
my
cold
kid,
case.
the kid,
Oh, yeah.
there was the murder trial for the kid. The guy was shown like not innocent, but like
The guy didn't get convicted.
didn't get convicted.
And so Seth went insane, and he tried to get evicted.
he
From his brain.
he tried
His
to.
wife couldn't talk, so he didn't pay attention to her, and he just tried to go to the mafia, where I was probably working, but even they wouldn't help him.
So he tried to get his own justice, and when he went to the forest where the killer was supposed to be, it was abandoned.
yeah.
It was empty, yeah. It was empty. And now I'm crazy. Cause it was empty.
I lost my memory.
Memory.
That was there.
Empty. Lost my memory. Yeah.
You're gonna have to show me how to clip things on Twitch.
So that is how we roll the end credits with the recording of that song.
Memory, yeah.
So yeah, no, that's very fitting given the whole Lonely Mountain thing. It's at 2 hours 3 minutes approximately.
Code it right now.
So Jordan.
I'm glad this is the first time someone's ever said clip that in relation to something I've done.
It was great.
I wonder if you can even hear the
what was
guitar in the
your-
VOD.
Do you need me to mute this for a little bit so you can find the right plug?
You're good.
Okay.
What was what was the thing you read?
A lonely mountain in the distance, which is fitting given I was just in the forest. So
Um,
go tie that in somehow.
Oh, did you indicate whether... Did we do that at the end? Say whether or not we want to remember?
we do it all. at the
Yeah, we
same-
do it all in the end.
And remind me of what just happened.
I just did this. Death of my son. Tried to get the guy got acquitted essentially. I tried to get my own justice. Tried to get his stuff working. It didn't work, and so I
tried to take justice in my own hands by going and shooting the guy up. But when I went to the house that he was supposed to be in, he was gone.
Oh, he
He
was
wasn't even
gone.
there. It looked like he'd been abandoned for weeks.
Okay. See, and then a lonely mountain in the distance.
Yes.
Okay. Did your blood start boiling the moment you saw the smoke rising up from the mountainside? Does that make sense?
I'm not sure.
Okay, how about this?
Because like
When you saw the smoke coming up from the mountainside, did you think it was Did you think it was the killer?
Yeah, and let's just say I was never much of a runner, but I
stretched my hammies that day.
yes, exactly.
Did you think it was the killer? It's rather vague, but at the same time not vague.
So you saw smoke, and you thought it was him.
Mhm.
So you started running towards it.
Yeah.
When you were running away.
Well, he's running towards it.
Yeah.
He's running towards the smoke.
Oh, I thought it was he was running away from the killer.
No,
not
trying to
running
find
from
the person.
He's trying to find him, and so there's like a smoke in the distance. So he's like, "That's where he is."
Okay. Well, that changes my question. I was like, he's gonna run away and he's gonna like pull a muscle or pull a tendon, and then he's gonna like
Yeah.
get whacked in the head, and that's how he got here. Whacked upside his backside. At that point, were you still thinking about your child, or were you just thinking about yourself?
It has to be a yes or no.
That was the yes was supposed to be like, are you only thinking about yourself at this point? You've
So
have you gotten to the point where you've forgotten completely about your child and now you're only thinking about your personal vengeance?
yes, and I think it's definitely safe to say things have gotten out. I think it's definitely safe to say things got out of hand. And I had forgotten all about the son I was trying to avenge. I had forgotten all about the wife that I had left at home and had just made it about me doing what I felt needed to be done, whatever it may have been. Chances are, if my son knew about this, he would have been ashamed. Fairly certain of it, in fact.
Did you immediately leave and go back home?
Oh, did you hear what Jordan's question was?
Maybe I didn't.
So I said there was this mountain.
So essentially, what happens is I'm on the mountain after getting out there. I see
Yeah.
smoke, and I immediately start running towards it.
Towards the smoke.
Right.
Thinking, okay, there's a fire over there. That's where he is.
Yep. I remember that.
And then he
Mm-hmm.
said,
And so he stops. Right. The idea is, did you immediately stop running? And just
Okay,
leave?
I got what you're saying.
because you realized that
Yeah.
you had
Oh,
you had that
did you
epiphany.
leave that fire on the mountainside and never look back?
Yes, and come to think of it, it probably wasn't him. Even that place had been abandoned for weeks. Chances are, all I would have done is storm upon some random campers on the hillside, possibly some hunters, and there's no way that would have gone right.
Were you surprised to see him when you made it back to your vehicle?
Yes.
Oh no! That was a nice little 1, 2, 3.
That was
punch.
it. That was
Yeah.
it.
That was good. That was good.
Nice teamwork, guys.
Yes. Yes, and
You still have a revolver in your pocket at this point.
It's true.
And I was glad at that. No, and I immediately regretted that I had already tossed my revolver.
Oh no!
So-
you dropped it when you.
Yeah, I
turned
was.
back.
I had just gotten up from from my knees, crying that the place was abandoned. Looked abandoned, and I got up, saw the smoke. I thought that must be him, and I started running. But then I started thinking of just how crazy he was and how I lost track of everything that had really mattered and what I'd really been doing. So I looked at I'd had my revolver in my hand. You know, that's not a great thing to see running through the forest. You know, some crazed man running through the forest with a revolver. So I just chucked it because I knew I was being stupid at that point. And so I started walking back. I got back to my vehicle, and there he was.
I'm just picturing this guy as like Freddy Krueger.
I'm picturing Hannibal Lecter.
Ah,
sort
I'm
of
picturing
thing.
Charlie.
See,
The
I need to
Chronicles
put
of
out my trash
Charlia.
I have a coworker named Charlie, so every time we say Charlie, I just keep thinking of him, and he's younger than me, and I'm like,
No, Charlie Sheen. It's Charlie Sheen in your car. He actually killed your son with AIDS.
oh,
Jesse! My gosh! I am sorry for my little brother.
Hi, I'm single.
I don't think
and looking to mingle.
I don't think anyone's watching. I think
I'm single-celled.
What?
Okay.
Sickle cell?
Single-celled.
Yay, this is boarding. Okay.
Where's she flying from?
PDX.
Portland.
She'll be here in 2 hours.
Yeah, that's a 2 hour. I've done that exact flight actually.
Actually, wait. I did that flight the other day. That wasn't 2 hours.
My flight from by PDX, do you mean Phoenix?
No. Portland.
Oh, sorry.
I did that
Phoenix?
flight just the other day. and it was
Phoenix,
only an
it's-
hour.
Phoenix is
It'll probably be a
PHX.
1-hour flight, but is there a time difference?
There's a time difference,
It
yeah.
is, but I don't know. The problem, I don't know what these times are. But even then, she's boarding. They're boarding now.
So the first time I think is going to be the time there, and the last time is going to be the time here.
Yeah,
Then that would make sense.
it's local time both.
Anyway,
ways.
well, specifically on this app.
Right.
So yeah, I got back to the.
Dang, she'd
Like-
be here. If it was only an hour, she'd be here an hour early.
That's why I'm not sure. Well, no, because she's probably not leaving for a half hour. They just started boarding.
Oh, okay.
So you start boarding at
Yeah.
10:30.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So yeah, I got back to my car and there he was. I looked at him. I looked at my car. I knew there were things still in there. I could still take him on. He didn't look armed, but I could tell he knew who I was. We just stared at each other.
And you were ready for him because you took an online black belt course.
With the official
Fake ninja.
fake ninja.
We just stared at each other for what seemed to be a minute. So probably it was only a minute,
For
but
me,
it
it
felt
was
like
5 hours.
It was probably only a minute, but it felt like forever. I got it. Just trying to continue.
Yep.
I don't quite remember what happened next. Jesse, I'm gonna be favoring these two.
Yeah.
Well, can you
Yeah,
even use
very-
pennies anymore? Yeah.
I can still give it. I can
You still
technically
give it to
still.
him, and then he gives it to anyone who needs them after. Like,
Well, isn't there a thing where like how many pennies you have at the end?
No,
determines-
there's no winning. We just said I won last time because I had a lot of pennies.
Okay. Well, I thought it was like, oh, I'm sorry, I'm thinking Fiasco.
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, just taking the dice at the end. Yeah.
You don't want to mess with this.
I think you you dashed for your trunk and you tried to get it open because you knew what was in there, but you couldn't get it open.
Is that what happened?
Yes.
I could just say yes. I could just say yes. That exact thing.
I like to have options.
I know. Yeah. And I'm willing to provide you with one. I think
that. I think you just talked to him.
Ooh.
That's all I'll say.
So you have the this is like Undertale. You have the peace option and the kill
This is
option.
Undertale.
Yep.
I think
pennies of mine.
I think I looked at him. I was like,
This little penny of mine.
I can't think of a way to make
The dirty and they won't shine.
I just look at him and say, "You know who I am, don't you?" He said. He said.
You killed my son. Prepare to die.
He says, "Yeah." Like, so I take it. He's like, "I had a feeling I knew when you were here. I already looked in your truck." I stand there, and I was gonna say something. I was like, I don't know. I feel like this conversation wouldn't go very far.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe he's a very
Why?
conversive
That's
serial
why.
killer.
Yeah, it's been some time, right? Maybe just like. would
So,
you-
how's
would you
the
ask
weather?
why?
How's the family?
I think I would say, let's just say, I was gonna say, why? Why would you do this? And
You have to play both characters now.
yeah, he says, he just looks and says, gives just this vile, just wicked smirk and says, why not? And I don't remember how I took that.
That reminds me of a certain character in our campaign. Why not?
I don't remember who that was, but it seems important.
that either.
Who was that?
It was an NPC, and it was either Sanum or it was one of the Genasi that hates us.
Oh yeah. Oh, I don't remember, but it sounds familiar. Okay, yeah.
Anyway,
Okay,
Just,
yeah.
do you remember how I took that?
I like how it says like you peer into their memory and what do you see?
3 little monkeys jumping in the tree.
K-I-S-S-I-N-G.
What?
I don't know. I said
We just
words.
mixed like 3 different things.
Yes,
there.
I did.
I think that I'm tired.
Going on a murder spree.
It's okay. Just
I just assaulted.
How dare you?
That's important medical documents there.
okay, we're gonna have to clip that too. And we've lost Jordan.
Just
You can't even see him. He's just on the floor laughing. We need to finish this up because we're getting
Yeah,
tired.
it's
We
gonna-
still have like an hour and a half till we can even pick up Alyssa.
So, I think when you heard that, and you knew who he was, and you heard that, you lost all your strength, and you fell down again to your knees. But this time you couldn't even cry.
Jordan?
I don't need any more pennies.
Mhm.
I got so many.
Plus, the more pennies you have, the longer the story will go.
Yeah, that's true. I think you slowly walk towards him. And you just stare at him like you've like when he said why not, like all sense of reason and thought just like it's just gone from up. You don't even realize that you're walking. You're just walking up to him, and you're just like in a different space right now, and you're just like you just slowly approach him, and you just stare him in the eyes, and you're like like your noses are almost touching. You're just right up in front of him.
I think I do that. And as I walk up to him, I just start saying, why not? Why not? To the point where I am up in front of his face. And I just nose. I say, why not? And he says, yeah.
Good. Feel the anger.
Dang it, there's so many things like, and then I do this, but I'm like, I have pennies for a reason.
Yep. Oops, sorry. Hello.
You don't have a pennies for a reason. You have pennies for your thoughts.
Exactly. But the thoughts are the reasons.
As long as your thoughts are reasonable.
A lot of these thoughts have not been reasonable.
No.
Um,
How would someone put cocaine or C4 in a mushroom?
Who knows?
I don't know.
I'm gonna look it up.
Be careful what you Google on my Wi-Fi.
I'm not using your Wi-Fi.
It's like I want to show up on some list.
I have unlimited LTE, so I try not to use people's Wi-Fi's.
So like he just says that. Do you remember what I do next, Jesse? This is essentially just gonna probably end with me getting knocked out by him, possibly shot.
I think you. This is how dead my brain is. I can only think in obscure references. I was gonna say, I think you take a broom and you jam it in his eye sockets and swirl it around a little bit.
That is an obscure reference, but I get it. He said it's not your actual thing.
At this point, you're nose to nose.
I'm not gonna kiss him.
You realize, as you're looking into his eyes, you feel the red hot burning love in your heart for him. I think you take the first swing, but it doesn't go as planned.
Yeah, I take the first swing, and he catches it with his hand. And in his hand is a gun. One that looks a lot like the one I just threw. And I know it's fully loaded. And he says, whoa, hold on there. Hold on there, dude. Like, hold on there. It doesn't have to go down like this. And I just stand there, frozen. He backs up, goes to my car, says, why don't you just wait here? I'll go find someone. They'll take care of you. And he starts to get in my car. Then he gets in, looks around, looks back to me, said, I'll be needing your keys. And Jordan, do you remember what I did after that? Or are you as tired as I am?
Oh, I've got something.
Oh, okay.
Who's up for McDonald's after this?
I'm down for that. Okay. You punch the window. You punch through the back window of your car.
Well, I was thinking I was more towards the front.
You're towards the front. Oh, so
Yeah.
you're both like right up there.
Mm-hmm.
I was thinking like you went back. You pull out your keys and you dangle them for a moment,
Mm-hmm.
and then you swallow them.
Keys or key?
Key.
Okay.
Like
Is it-
like you pull out your keychain and you take the single key off. You throw the other keys like off into the wilderness, and you swallow the key.
Damn, man. That's
I
even
had
more-
something good, but not that
Yeah.
Same.
Say. Wait. Say what it is. I'm probably gonna go with Jordan. You have enough.
good. I would say you take out your keys and you have a hidden razor on your keys.
Ooh.
And
I like
you-
that too.
Yeah.
That's good.
As you're about to give it to him, you try to take a swipe at him.
Okay, no, I really like that.
Yeah, go with
I
that.
really
That's
like
good.
that.
That's
I was
really
gonna
good.
say you like do the like thing with like the keys in your knuckles and then just like try to punch him in the
No,
face.
yeah,
Those are both way better than that.
I have not exactly a hidden blade on the keys, but I had a knife on my keychain, just because that seems more reasonable. Because I don't know if they make keys with knives in them.
It's like a razor.
They make knives that look like keys.
Oh, I like
It
that.
sounds like a key blade.
It literally is.
So yeah, I do that. I have a key I have a knife that looks like a key. I go towards him, and I try to take a swipe at him. And I get him on the cheek. I get him across the cheek. I get him,
Get him
but
off.
just across the cheek. And he looks at me, puts the gun up towards my head, and said, "That was a bad move."
Basically, every second in this is another.
Yes, essentially. I can't think of how to do this without handing out pennies every few seconds.
Yeah, no, I mean,
How did I respond? This is gonna end with me losing my memory, but how do I lose my memory?
C4 mushroom.
you're like,
Everyone loses their memory because of C4 mushrooms.
This guy was actually Charlie the whole time.
By the way, my name's Charlie. We're all Charlie.
We are Charlie, part of the mafia.
Do you have an idea? I have a penny to give away. I think it's gonna go to you either way because Jordan doesn't need it. Might as well ask you what if you have.
yeah, but then if we give him more, then he's got a longer story to tell. We could just limit it,
Yeah.
honestly. At this point, we'll just say, like,
We want to limit the next round to just 4 because we're all getting tired and loopy anyway. Okay. Yeah, that's right. You have enough technically. Someone has to end my story. How about you all just give an idea and we'll decide from there.
Okay.
Forget the penny.
the penny.
Jesse, what's your idea?
Yeah, I'm trying to think actually. So he's pointing a gun to your head. You obviously don't have too many options there.
Yeah.
Oh, I know. I have an idea.
Oh, I just thought of something.
Go ahead.
You duck,
Mhm.
and you try to use your key knife to slash the tire.
Ooh.
That still has to end with you losing your
I have
memory,
a
but
better
whatever.
idea. I have a better idea. I have a better idea.
What?
Okay, so you duck, like you just said, right?
Mhm.
A shot goes off.
Mhm.
The guy like it seems surprised, and you look around and you see that your wife was directly behind you, and had pulled off a ways, like 'cause she followed you, and like heard a commotion, and so snuck up to the situation and was gonna try to save you, and you ducked out of the way the last moment she got shot in the face and died. And like you are looking at this, and then you just like I can't, my mind can't handle this. Shut down. And-
That's demented, but I like it.
For a
'cause
second, I
it brings
thought.
the wife back in.
For a second, I thought you meant your wife shot him. That would.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought the story you were
She's
going.
like, I've been a secret agent the entire time.
I have been Charlie this whole time.
Takes off the mask. I am Charlie.
Oh no, I'll go with that. Yeah.
and then Seth pulls off the mask. I'm also Charlie. No.
Have you guys seen the
one
Key and
other.
Peele Mexican standoff skit?
We can watch that anyway.
I had one other idea.
I really like that, but
You duck out of the way.
Mhm.
You run up to the hood. Pry it open. You pull out a lighter that you have in your back pocket and you drop it into the gasoline tank.
gas tank isn't underneath the hood.
You couldn't get. Oh, what am I saying? Yeah, I know. You duck down and then you run over to the gas tank on the side and then
I
throw
don't
a
know if
lighter
that's
in.
physically possible. It's actually I've actually listened to something. It's actually really hard to get a car to explode.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like people talk about like MythBusters, they do it all like it's the MythBusters talk about like if they're doing stunts like that. It's like really hard to get it to explode. Dang, I like the idea.
I mean, it
Ooh.
was, Bless you.
Bless
Bless
you.
you.
Okay.
I have a variant on that idea,
Okay.
but I don't know if it counts. But
Saved it.
Maybe.
did you did you say what your idea was, Jesse?
Yeah,
I said
his-
my idea was you duck and
Slash
try to
the
slash the tire. He said you duck and your wife gets shot.
you duck and then you have the. Either way, you're ducking. That seems to be established. You duck and then they. I was gonna say maybe there's gasoline tanks in the back of your car.
Ooh.
And you just happen to have a C4 mushroom.
Oh.
Well, I mean, I have a the knife. I just run back, like maybe like knock him out of the way, slash the gas tank, throw the ladder.
What if? Okay.
We're just
You
like
duck-
brainstorming ideas.
You duck out of the way. He shoots your wife, and then you run over, and that's when you light it.
Yeah, cool. We'll make sure you guys is just
Yeah.
have something. I'm getting
We
tired, dude.
Yeah.
literally all three of us got in on that one.
Yeah.
Okay. When I think of a lonely.
So you ducked, your wife got shot, you threw a lighter in your gas tank. That's a pretty quick exchange there. And you lost your memory from a car
I'm
explosion.
pretty sure that's a country
Is
song.
that the thing? You lost your memory from the car explosion? Is that what you're saying?
Explosion.
And the trauma of like seeing dead light.
Explosion. Plus trauma.
Well, I dodged a bullet and my wife got
See,
shot.
I was thinking just like, oh, the bullet grazed my head.
I lit my ladder and things got hot. Blow up, blow up, the car blew up. Everyone dead. Sound off, 1, 2, blow up, 3, 4. Alright, which one of this is next?
Technically, you have more pennies.
Yeah, okay. Alright, let's do this.
What you got?
So just as a recap, math stuff,
Mm-hmm.
got rejected a whole bunch. The very last thing that happened to me
Then you're
was I tried to perform for my son, and everyone booed me off, and I have been rejected from everyone. Oh, fun! We've come across this one before. The smell of sulfur.
Do you remember what mine was the last time?
No.
Mine was the taste of metal and sulfur.
The taste of metal and sulfur.
And that's how we got the firework.
All right. So, in what situations would I be like smelling sulfur?
I would think like if you're in a mine, or if there's dynamite involved.
So, what is?
Seth, in what situation? It's the smell of sulfur. In what situation would someone be smelling sulfur?
I was thinking like usually like I think you hear like fireworks. If you're at like Yellowstone.
Mm-hmm.
Oh
If you're in a sulfur lake?
no, like I think like the smell of like rotting.
sulfur.
The smell of rotten eggs
It's
is
a real
kind of
thing.
like the smell of sulfur.
Okay.
Things burning generally.
Yeah. Okay. So I mean, you be the first one.
2 questions, Mr. Seth.
Let me just smell of sulfur in car. Smell of rotten eggs is due to.
Not good at bar chords.
Yeah, like the rotten eggs is kind of smell of sulfur. So.
Okay. Yeah, up to you, my friend.
Our chords are really.
And it
once
ended
you're able
with-
to do them,
sorry,
they're
it
really
ended with-
fun.
I went up on stage
Oh, I
and
know, like,
tried
you
to
can- you
play
can,
all my
you know, do
son's
any kind of
songs,
major
and I got
chord.
booed off stage after
Major
my
chord.
girlfriend turns out she was actually married the whole time. I got rejected. I got kicked out of college. Pretty much everything's going bad for me. I have literally nothing to my name. And that's
This sounds like a country song.
So.
yes, my life has been a country song.
So were you the one
My
that found?
life's a country song.
So were you the one that found the gas leak?
I actually have.
Riding all night long.
Yes, and it was after the show, in the back actually.
In the back of. Wait, what did you?
And like,
What-
did you? Were you the one who smelled the gas leak?
Oh.
And I said yes, and it was directly after the show. In the back.
We're gonna end with another explosion.
Yes.
Jesse, do you need a bobby pin? Because I keep finding these.
I don't use them.
So, I mean, yeah. So far, we are two for two with
With
explosions,
explosions.
ending the story.
Cool guys almost die in explosions.
They got
Lose
exploded and they lose
lost
their
their
memories.
memories. Did you panic when you saw your son near the gas tanks?
Yes, and I. Wait, what? Why was he? He's sick.
Yeah. Okay.
But like the gas
I
leak
mean,
would have been
you-
nearby the building, or the thing he was trailer or something he was.
Oh
in.
yeah. Oh,
Oh, okay. Yeah, sure. Right. Yeah. Okay.
so yeah, maybe it's like attached.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
I just want to make sure we had the continuity here. Yes, and I ran towards him as quickly as possible, yelling at him to get to run because something was obviously wrong.
Did you try to save him yourself?
Yes. And even when the explosion did go off, I still was searching for him in the midst of the rubble. It was the worst terrorist attack the country had ever known.
You never did find his body, did you? You,
That would
you
be a
never
no.
found. Oh no! Wait, you never found his body. Did you? Okay, no. How do I word this the right way?
Yeah.
Did you not find his body?
Yeah, that would be the way to word it.
The police were
Did-
never.
We have to remove the word never.
Yeah, you were horrified. When, it's always a never.
You were horrified when you didn't find his body. Yeah?
Yeah, yeah. There we go. We'll go with that.
Yeah.
I can words.
Yes. And that's when I knew my life was truly over. Because the only thing I possibly had left was gone.
Also, the explosion didn't make you lose your memory, so we have to come up with something else.
That's what I was hoping for. So it was kind of.
Right, yeah, because then it's not the same thing.
Yeah. 3 for 3.
So a terrorist killed your baby
So
boy.
so yeah, I mean, the rubble, the auditorium was on fire for days afterwards, weeks even. It was it was a massive stadium, and the whole thing had just gone.
I mean, honestly, that's a little bit metal, but you know.
Hundreds of
The
people had died. And I honestly wished I would have been one of
Like an
them.
impending doom song.
But I continued searching through the rubble. You know, this is part of the last thing, right? Like and I never found his body. And so I was standing there, looking at the smoking wreckage, and someone walked up to me.
Charlie. So it's Charlie.
And I looked, and it was my former girlfriend, the one who had lied to me. And I realized I had been
And got a restraining order on you.
yeah.
We forgot about that part too.
No, and so I panicked very briefly, right?
Came up
But,
at the end.
yeah. But I realized at that moment that I had been here for 48 hours, and I just hadn't stopped. And I finally realized that I was so exhausted. And I turned to her and I said, "What, Jesse?"
Oh, I thought you were saying literally her name was Jessie. And
Yeah,
you're like,
I
what,
thought
Jessie?
that too for a second. What, Jesse? What do you want?
What do you want?
You already took the kids, Karen. Now my only baby boy
What
is
more do
gone.
you want?
So what did I say?
Actually, you know what? I think that might be. I think you just said, "What?"
Okay. Yeah.
What are you doing?
What are you doing here? And she said, "I heard about everything, and I just wanted you to know that I'm sorry for everything. I ruined any semblance of a life you had left, and I'm only realizing that now." And she started crying because she said, my husband was at the concert. He's gone.
He's not there anymore.
Oh!
Exactly. And I just stared at her in shock, and I had no idea how to respond. Jordan, do you have any idea what I did?
So you have two ideas. But I'm gonna go with the one that could lead somewhere a little further. So I think you sit there, seeing her crying, and you notice her pain, and it comes across to you that you feel.
We were only doing 4, right?
Yeah, but I'm taking the penny anyway.
Okay. I was bringing it down so it was only 4.
You feel. You don't feel any sympathy for her. You feel angry, because it occurs to you in this moment. Here she is crying. Yes, she lost her husband, but you lost your wife. You lost this woman who lied to you, and because of that, because she got a restraining order on you, you couldn't complete college. And so you came and started working for your son, but the thought comes into your head, if you hadn't even have been here working for your son, he might not have been caught up in that explosion, and you'd still have him too. And so the thought occurs to you, this is her fault. So you just get mad, and you pick up one of the pieces of rubble, and you throw it at her.
I think it's a little extreme. We'll see what Seth
Yeah.
says.
I kind of like where he was going.
It's okay. I might choose that still, but I'm just curious if you have another idea.
My original thought was, oh, you comfort her, but I'm like, how does this end with him getting knocked out though? Or how does this end with him like
Losing
blacking out?
memory,
Yeah,
yeah.
losing your memory.
You said sorry, you kissed, and all of a sudden an airplane fell on your head.
Full of mushrooms.
I think I'll take kind of what.
No, I just had a thought.
Actually, there's an M. Night Shyamalan movie that ends like that, where it's like, yay, happy ending, and then all of a sudden, like, a plane falls on them, and they die, and then the movie ends.
Wow.
Isn't that called Final Destination?
No, it's an M. Night, it's actually an M. Night Shyamalan movie.
Are you sure it's not like someone parodying an M. Night Shyamalan movie?
No, it really is.
Okay.
I mean, it wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah, Seth.
Pretty much similar things, except instead of throwing a rock, you just yell.
Okay. Yeah, I'll go with that one.
I really
think
like where you're
I don't
going.
think I've escalated quite yet. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I say, how dare you?
How dare you? I need to talk to the manager.
No, so I probably say it more like, how dare you?
I have a certain set of skills.
How dare you come here looking for sympathy,
To my throne.
looking for comfort? Do you expect me to just walk into your arms again? Because that's what I see in your eyes right now. I'm telling you, I will not deal with that crap.
Oh, he said the C word. It's getting serious.
Why so?
Saying swears on my stream.
Heckin', oh no, I did another one.
And I say, leave. Now. I never want to see you
Speak
again.
now or forever hold your peace.
And she shook her head and she said, "This isn't you. This isn't you. I
Yeah, 'cause I'm
don't you
dead."
remember? Don't you remember all the times that we had together? Those weren't fake. I was confused. I had issues to work out, but don't you see? We need each other right now.
We all need each other, but I don't care
We-
about you because you killed my son.
If we don't have each other, we have nothing. You do realize that, right? If you leave today, if you let me go, you will truly have nothing. And I don't know what I did, Jordan. So yeah.
Listen,
I'm done.
I totally have a way that this could end.
He still has 2.
I know. No, I mean, it couldn't end right now. It's just like I don't know how it would possibly.
I mean,
lead up to
technically,
it.
mine had like an ending. Then it had like another
Another
ending,
ending?
Yeah.
where it had like first the boiling tea was poured in my eyes,
Yeah.
and then the teapot was thrown in my head.
Well, no, it's not that I would end now. It's just that, for the ending, I was thinking I was just I don't know how it would lead up to it. I think you respond to her by saying, "No. If I had you, then I'd have nothing.
Oh,
Yeah.
But I'm not done.
Okay.
But I can still have revenge."
Oh, yeah. Yup.
Oh my gosh.
How about that?
This is turning into like Star Wars Episode 3 right here.
You turned me against her.
I would. What was the thing? Was, I want to be the best dancer.
Oh yeah. Oh,
Hate the friend zone.
I hate the friend
I
zone.
fucking hate the friend zone.
You friend zoned me.
Okay, so yeah, I say that, but I can still get.
You've become the very thing you wish to destroy.
Wait.
And I mean, I don't have a weapon on me. I don't think I would just like grab a rock and like chuck it at her head. I think
I wasn't even thinking.
Roll a perception
I didn't
check.
even say. I wasn't even thinking necessarily revenge on her. I think that you
I've
want
become a counter-terrorist unit.
that you want revenge on the terrorists.
So you enlist in the
Or
army.
no, maybe you do. Maybe you do think it's her.
Right.
for now. Yeah. So you want.
So I think what I do is I leave. I say that
Mhm.
and I leave.
Okay.
And we pick up like a week later,
Okay.
and
After bumming on the street for a week.
pretty much,
Yeah.
And we see like my girlfriend, right? She is at a park. No, she probably like is walking into her apartment, and I'm just like sitting on the couch, like waiting for her.
That's not creepy at all.
Yeah. And like she doesn't. I think the way the angles are, like she doesn't see me until it's like she's like literally like right in front of the couch because of the like she turns around, and I have latex gloves on, and I have some like poisonous like toxic
Mushrooms?
chemicals. No, like chemicals in a cloth, and I just grab her head and just
Like
suffocate.
chloroform or like kill?
Like kill.
Killiform.
Yeah, killiform.
But I still have 1 penny left. But are we okay with that as the ending?
Well, then
How
how do
did
you
you
lose
lose
your
your
memory?
memory?
Okay, so I do that because you said get revenge, and so I get revenge,
Yeah, yeah,
but
yeah.
I kill her.
Yeah.
Right? She's dead.
Yeah.
What do I do next,
I have an idea.
Seth?
I think you do that, but then after that, you just still feel empty and just unfulfilled. And you look at the cloth in your hand, take a huff, and things go black.
Yep, that's it.
Agreed.
Okay, Jesse.
Jesse.
Finish this up! Do it!
The faster I get this done, the faster I can go to McDonald's.
Do you really want to go to McDonald's?
I want to eat something because the grilled cheese sandwiches were wonderful, but it was
filling.
not
Not as
the
filling
most
either.
filling thing ever.
I'm not hungry.
I'm hungry.
I was just planning on just bringing it back to Mom's. Just getting. I don't know. Do you guys want to go?
We should stop somewhere.
Okay.
I still want. If you still wanted to play my guitar, you should still be able to. I didn't bring the amp over for nothing. But. So, I crashed my car into the mob offices, and it went splody. And then I walked off, thinking, "What the heck am I gonna do now?"
Uh-huh.
So what the heck am I gonna do now?
I don't
Let's
know.
let this thing tell me. If it's my last card, it's gonna be.
Please be one of mine. It's not one of mine because it's folded.
The sound of a child's laughter.
Oh my
Oh, my kids are coming.
Your
back
kids are
in.
coming back into
Faster
this.
guns and laughter.
The last 3 have been mine.
Well, don't drop that back in.
But we're not. Just the last one.
That's it.
I know, but I wanted to read off the rest of them.
Okay. Well.
Yeah, that's fair.
Because I was curious what the other ones you guys wrote were.
I'll just look for the one that was mine.
Okay, so I start with the questions. Sound of child's laughter. Did you go home to see your children after this? Even though you probably shouldn't have.
Yes, up until this point, they were, they were still thinking I was on the comedy tour, and they probably thought I was just coming home, just like I was expected to at the end of the tour. They had no idea.
It must have fallen over here.
They had no idea about Charlie. They had no idea about my involvement in the business.
I just found it.
Okay.
It didn't go in the cup.
They were probably very excited to see me, and I didn't know how to prepare myself for it.
Yeah.
Oh, I need to go to a funky chord.
Did you feel a strong sense of guilt for the lack of attention you had, for the lack of attention you've been giving your kids over the past few years, as they came like running up to you in your arms?
I wanted to say no, but yes.
No, I don't care about them.
Well, I want to say like I was just happy to see them more than anything.
Yeah.
But, yes.
Iron Man wrote a song about that, about the wasted years.
I think it's always hard to be away from your kids, but here I knew that I was away from them even longer than I should have been, because I'd gotten sucked up in all this business and I'd forgotten about them.
I bet you were surprised to see the house nearly empty, weren't you?
Ooh, what a twist!
Yes, I was.
Okay, that's it. The fan is spinning the wrong direction. I was wondering why I couldn't feel any airflow.
Weird.
Wait, no, I know it is supposed to be spinning that way. Okay. Because it's sucking air up, so the cold air goes up. Dang it, I just wanted airflow on my face. So you weren't expecting it to be empty?
I was not expecting the house to be empty, and it took me a while to find out what had really happened.
did you finally track down your kids staying at their grandparents' house up the coast?
But I thought his kids greeted him when they were home.
That's what I was wondering. But then it sounded like
No, I was thinking like the idea like his wife had like was leaving him.
oh,
and
they
took
were
all
like
his
packing
stuff.
up the stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, got it. All right, that makes some sense. Okay, yeah. So I think
Parents taking the kids.
yeah, exactly. I think my question is,
Or just the stuff. She might leave the kids.
Did you confess to your wife everything you had done?
Yes. Yes, I did. And I knew at that point that she had every reason to leave me.
Please continue the story.
So,
I don't think we can play this with the list tomorrow. It's gonna take forever.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, part of it's just we've been lollygagging a whole lot,
Yeah, I know,
and
but-
we're all tired.
Who's
Very,
to say
very
we won't
tired.
do the same thing tomorrow?
I mean, the last time we played, it took a long time too. We
what's
broke
like
it up
your
into two sessions.
what's like your schedule for tomorrow?
Hang out
Hang
till
out.
like 2. Go pick up Emily. We were planning on playing this again, but
I mean, we have
There's-
other
if I can-
RPGs we can do too.
I mean, if I can like join in, or
if you want to hang out, well, I was thinking maybe we could go hang out at Mom's while we're waiting.
if you guys want to come to Mom's, I'd be totally down because I'm probably gonna fill out a job application tomorrow and then wonder what else
As
I
long
can
as
do.
you're filling out job applications.
I
You get
filled
on
out
it.
one today. And
It's on stream now.
hello stream. I filled out a job application today.
Hire him.
Anyway, continue your story.
And I also showered and donated plasma, and came here to hang out with y'all.
The hardest thing of all of that is the showering bit.
That was really hard.
I'm gonna get the water checked if that's. I think water's supposed to be soft usually, like not.
There's such thing as hard water.
Anyway,
Yeah, that was Texas.
let's get this over with. So I came home to find that my wife was leaving me, and she must have suspected that something was up because I'd been gone longer than expected.
Yeah.
And maybe she was expecting that I was with another woman. Maybe she was expecting that I'd gotten caught up in the kind of alcoholic lifestyle that a comedian often gets into, but she definitely wasn't suspecting this.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah. Nobody ever expects the Spanish organization.
No one suspects. No one expects the Italian mafia.
Yeah.
And so I told her everything because I knew that, well, even if I didn't, that wouldn't help anything. Making up a story wouldn't help. Lying wasn't going to do anything. So I told her about Charlie. I told her about my boss. I told her about the job. I told her, I mean, I was only there for a few days before I ran off. But she was ready to take the kids and take them to their grandparents. And when I saw her walking out the door, I don't know what I did when I saw her walking out. Jordan, do you know what I did when I saw her walking out?
I think you fell to your knees and started
There's been a lot
sobbing.
of falling to our knees in
Yeah.
these stories.
And I think you started sobbing, and then you just like you cry out.
Cry out.
Don't let me die here. I beg you to save me from myself.
Ooh.
It's intense.
Seth, do you have an idea?
You let her leave.
Say bye bye.
Bye, Karen.
So cute. Bye bye.
I didn't care about my kids
So
anyway.
quiet.
That's why I was gone for this long.
Oopsies.
I mean,
You tell her, don't leave. you're not safe anywhere.
Oh my gosh, okay. They'll come for you. I will come for you.
Like you say, like don't sit because of what's happened.
Yeah.
You're not safe anywhere.
I'll protect you, sweetheart.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
I tell her, listen, we're not safe. Eventually, they're gonna find out that I ran away. And cowards, you know what they say, snitches get stitches and cowards get shot in the face.
Oh no, that was not what I was gonna say.
Cowards get deflowered.
Dang it, Jesse! I didn't say it for a reason.
I have kids, so I don't think that's a problem.
I didn't say it for a reason.
Cowards get showered.
With bullets.
With lead.
So, yeah, I tell her, listen, we're not safe. And we need to go somewhere where we can set up a refuge for our kids. And all of a sudden, I found myself caring about my kids again.
So all along, you just forgot.
So I started helping my wife pack, but this time not to go to the grandparents, but to go away. And
I'm on official Karate Man money.
with
My
all
private island.
with all my unofficial, official fake Ninja Man money. Yeah, this is very incoherent story. You do not want this is like a bad romance novel times 10. And
Action, thriller, romance, comedy, drama of the year.
the next day, I've already done this once, dang it. The next day, yeah, we woke up, we packed, and I found myself just staring at this SUV full of our things. What hadn't already been packed, this SUV full of our things, our last things to take with us. And, what did I do or say? Caleb. These pennies smell like...
So you packed up your stuff, and you were just about to leave, and then you just like. What do I
I'm
do?
just looking at this car full of our things, and I...
Okay. You realize there's a bomb in the bed. No.
Realize your wife is a robot and she has a bomb in her.
Wow,
realize-
that 21st century
hold on.
guys. Normal.
I actually don't want to spoil what I thought of.
So I think that you tell your wife and kids to get in the car and you start driving. But you're maybe a little too distracted. That's all I'll say.
Are you suggesting something?
You want me to suggest something? I'm gonna say
It
similar.
looks like you have an idea.
You get in the car. You're getting ready. All the kids are in the car. You look in your rearview mirror and you see a familiar looking SUV starting to pull up down the street in the rearview mirror.
Oh my.
So one is I'm driving distracted, true danger of our society. And the other is the mob's coming for me. Yeah, I'll go. This is gonna make it easier to end, honestly.
Well, I was thinking that's kind of where he was going with it.
Honestly, I was
maybe as well.
thinking I find out somehow that my wife got in on it, and my wife rats me out to the mom.
Oh.
Yeah, the wife just says, I'm sorry.
It's just
Kids, close your eyes.
It's just business.
Yeah.
Well, how many pennies do you have left?
2.
Oh, so it couldn't have been there anyway.
My wife kills me and then takes the kids. It's like, ignore the fact that I just killed your dad, please.
It's just good business.
So yeah, we're just pulling out to drive off, and I see
It's fine. I just wanted to sit down over here.
Dare you?
I see one of the business cars. Didn't take him that long to find out I was here. And I say, honey, hold on, I've got to get out. No
You gotta
objections.
get out or
Okay.
gotta get up?
I've got to get out.
Okay.
No objections to that. Okay. So I get out of the car. I walk towards them, and I see the window roll down, and it's Charlie.
Tony.
No, Tony Calvo.
It's Charlie back from the grave. He wasn't dead after all. It was a double treachery.
double.
Oh my gosh, it was a fake.
No, it's Charlie, but he's still all mangled up. He's like, you didn't do the job.
I like all these options.
So I see the window roll down, and it's a local. It's not my boss. Obviously, my boss is dead. And I turn to him and I say, I think I know why you're here. And he says, you know why we're here.
Coming to collect
Lives.
with the IRS.
So
The IRS.
as I'm staring him down with his car window rolled down, Jordan, what do you think I did? I saw that smile.
You do a happy dance.
Right, yeah.
Happy dance.
Did you dodge bullets?
I think you. I think you point to the other side of him and you say, "Well, whatever you're planning on doing, I suggest you don't do it with the cops right behind you." And the moment he looks away, you take a knife, slash one of the tires, and you run to your car and you speed off. Mental gym.
Better ideas?
I like it.
Did you hear what I
Alright,
said?
No.
Yeah, I didn't think so. I said, so the windows roll down, and he's like, you know why we're here. And so I said, he says, well, whatever you do, and he points off behind him and says, probably don't want to do it while the cops are right there. And then they look away. He pulls out a knife, slashes the tire, and runs back to the car and speeds off with the wife and kids. It's like, psych! And then
Yeah, no, I'm into that. Yeah.
Alright, unanimous agreements, I guess.
It works.
Yeah.
So,
I can't think of anything better.
it's like, what?
We've been
So
going
I
for like
pull-
nearly 6 hours.
I pull
Yeah,
the
I
bait and
know.
switch on him, and I put the pedal to the metal, and my kids are very scared because now they're finding out that I was probably involved in something I shouldn't be. And I just turn to my kids and I'm like, listen, fellas, sometimes
Listen,
in life,
fellas.
you gotta look out for the family, okay?
Oh my.
And do I drive into another truck? I don't know.
Are you asking what you do then?
So as I still like the twist of my wife pulling a gun on me, even though it's so non sequitur, it doesn't make any sense, but I just liked it. So as we're driving up, getting to the freeway, I breathe a sigh of relief, And
You can do anything, but never go against the
I have the
family.
perfect ending.
give it to me.
I have the perfect ending. Okay, so you're speeding away. You're distracted. You're terrified. You're nervous. You don't know what to do. You drive off a cliff. We see an explosion. The car is off the cliff. Your family dies. We see you suspended from the cliff. The seatbelt having been torn off of the seat and accidentally like wrapped around something, and you survive by a black belt around your waist, hanging from the cliff just barely, and you're traumatized so much that you lose your memory.
Perfect. Perfect.
That is the dumbest, but the best ending.
His story was the dumbest one.
know!
Story that bad deserved a bad ending.
All right, the last thing we have to do.
Oh,
You have to decide if you want to remember your past.
I don't think I do. I don't think there's any reason to remember any of this.
I mean, I think remembering my past will be useful in case the mob comes to me again while I'm in the mental hospital.
Yeah. I think I want to remember my past.
I do as well.
Am I the only one who doesn't?
Yeah, this time.
Well, I mean, what's there to remember? Not a lot.
I think part of it is like I think I hit such a slump, but I've always like tried to like get back out of that slump, and I think even if I hit this lowest of lows, I think having this like therapy session has like made me realize like, wow, there are other people who go through really horrible, crappy stuff, and maybe we can band together and build something new out of our lives.
What? How did you lose your memory?
I poisoned myself.
Oh, that's right. Chloroform, yeah. Super
Chloroform.
Chloroform.
I think
Chloroform.
for me, it was more along the
Kill
lines
phone.
of I lost everything I had.
Yeah.
There's no point in remembering it.
That was a penny for my thoughts. Thank you for sticking with us for this ridiculously long game of penny for my thoughts.
I think we have like 6 hours of footage.
We do? Yeah.
Somewhere around
I
there.
lost my memory. Yeah. I lost my memory.
What else do we say?
That failed.
I had a cocaine
Try that.
mushroom. Lost my memory.
Okay, we
Oh
should
my.
end. Good
Yeah.
night.